of the great run with players. There's Sam Fisher. He also, well, if you don't run down Sam Fisher and create him from the half-back line, you are making life very difficult for yourself.
Dean Cox against his former teammate in Michael Gardner, battling it out in the middle of the ground, and pretty much a 0-all draw, though Gardner got onto it and advanced it immediately inside 50. Running past it, Wirrapunda, Rewald finishes off where he left off last week.
Well, great play by Michael Gardner. He was very aggressive in the first centre bounce, kept his feet and tracked the ball, ended up getting the kick out. But I want to take you through this, Jared. David Wirrapunda, very classy player. His intensity here, he's just half pace. He's half pace, fumbled the ball. He had to be more desperate there, and that's a poor start by David Wirrapunda.
Well, it was a fumble. I'm not sure he was under too much lack of speed. I think he was trying to just control it, Jacko, but that's the way you see it. Fair enough. He's in a pretty savage mood, old Jacko, today, BT. Look out.
Going to hunt a few today, but that man there, Nick Rewalt, surely All-Australian honours beckon this year for him as the class centre-half forward along with Jonathan Brown this year.
There it is, Pritis up against Montagna. They may shake hands at the start and go wide of each other, but it looks as if Clint Jones is going to run with Embley, so it'll be difficult for him. Goddard, one of the great defenders at the moment.
Beautiful kick, Kazitsky. Tripped himself, the umpire said. Rewalt under some pressure here. They go hard at this end of the ground, the Saints. They are very, very good when it's inside their forward 50 in attack or defence. Free kick against Hearn.
And Raph Clark has got a pretty big job. He's on Lacroix, who's in good form for the Eagles, and he's going to be almost the full back because Lacroix often is left one out in the goal square.
Montagna forces the turnover. Their leading tackler this year for the Saints has Selwood. That's Adam. Scott not playing today. Kick out wide for Cox, the big fella, and just sends it backwards to Selwood. He's got plenty of time to sum up the options and try and thread the needle to Spanger, but Gardner did well. This is what they do so well, St Kilda. They just get a hand there when perhaps other teams wouldn't and force a contest. Cox at half-back. His teammates calling to kick it down the line. He ignores that and goes across the ground.
Well, he had Spanger down the line in the shaded area, which he didn't see.
Mitch Brown's kick, really ordinary. Stolen by Rewalt, almost within range if on the run. Kicks it to the vacant square. It might have been Mackenzie's kick, in fact it was, that was messed up in the hands of Rewalt.
Well, we spoke about kicking efficiency for West Coast. A season low last year, a record low last week, 54%, and their last 5 or 6 possessions, they haven't been able to hit targets, as we saw with Eric Mackenzie.
Here's Maston for the Eagles. Trouble getting it over the halfway mark. Here's the inclusion of Hanson coming to fruition early in the game. Kick out wide to Lacroix, who had the ball knocked away by Clark.
Very important for West Coast to get off to a good start. Not allow St Kilda to get the start that they had last week, because they'll put scoreboard pressure on. They've got multiple options up forward, and a couple of weeks ago, I know, against Geelong, Geelong got out in the blocks here, kicked 5, and then after that, West Coast actually won the battle on the scoreboard. But today, they've got to just try and break even with them.
Pritis advanced to Lacroix, who was looking for a running teammate. But have a look at the amount of Saints in that picture there. It was about 6-1.
This bloke's had a great season, BT. Jason Blake, he's got a job on Hanson today. Particularly with Hudson injured, he has stepped up and been superb in defence.
Glass tackled. Farron Ray, another big improver for the Saints. Del Santo smooth out the back to Montagna. He puts it to the advantage of Milne in front. Did well, knocked down.
He meant
that, he did for his second goal. Couldn't quite get enough bend on the ball, and it'll end up going out of bounds, I think.
Pretty smart bit of play here by Milne. He knew that he was the only one forward, and rather than trying to take the ball, he knocked it straight to Nick Rewald. We'll take a look at that shortly.
And in years gone by, that wouldn't have happened, Jared. He probably would have tried to mark the ball, but very selfless these days is Stevie Milne. Here he is with an opportunity to score, and he hasn't taken that element out of his game either, of the ability to score. And let's have a look at that tap you speak of, Jared.
Well, he just took the front spot, and like the ruckman he wished he was, he showed the only thing he lacked is height.
That's an example of when teams are going well, they do the little things for each other, isn't it? You see it so often when teams are at the top and going well. It's those little things that all of a sudden the coach doesn't have to worry about. They just become automatic.
Got a great team ethic, great leadership group at this club, and he would have been told a little while ago, Milne, and he's been smart enough to respond.
Well, Ray Chamberlain going down there. I'm not sure whether he had a delayed sort of concussion or something in Ray, but he's groggy.
Yeah, he's been clipped.
He's unusually groggy there, Chamberlain. Now he's got to make a decision here. Pritis over the line out of bounds. I'm not sure what happened there to Ray. He lost his footing, or he just looked a little funny for a moment, like he'd fainted or something. Initially a bad ball.
The head at Cox. Cox just clipped him with a hip. Got one right in the head.
The concussion never do any harm for an umpire. Accidental, of course.
It may be Ray's finest moment. It might shake a few things back into position.
No, he's in a rich vein of form at the moment, is Ray Chamberlain, umpiring extremely well. Spanger to the middle. The Eagles reload. Nikoski, kick out wide. Hansen presented up too early.
Yeah, but that's the kick you're talking about, Jacko. That has to give Hansen a better opportunity than that one.
Maston had 3 or 4 touches already. Threw that one out the back door. Blake and Spanger go at it, so a 0-0 draw on the wing will ball it up.
Clint Jones looks like he's redirected his attentions to Matthew Pritis, who we know is a massive accumulator. We'll just see how much more difficult it is now with him on his heels.
Beautiful tap by Gardner. Couldn't capitalise the Saints. Gardner liked his own work there, though. Stands back admiring it. And that'll go against the Eagles. Look how quickly they are to get it out of the traffic area. Here's Fisher, who loves to distribute the ball left or right and send the Saints on their way. Dawson let go by Hawthorn, and here he is playing with the leading team in the comp. Now Rewalt got a nudge.
Just got to be a bit better there, Eric. He engaged here. Just didn't have to put too much body into it. I mean, when you got your forward right underneath the football, engage in the contest, not the man.
Just lean on him, Glenn, in that situation. Heard Ray Chamberlain say holding the man. Go to Glass.
Sometimes for a young player, BT, they can be starstruck of playing on someone like Rewalt. Don't worry about his status. Just playing on your merits, and there goes another kicking error by West Coast.
Well, we thought this would be the case at the start of the day, Glenn, didn't we? The 16th least effective kicking side in the competition, the Eagles, and with the pressure of the Saints on top of that, going to be difficult for them.
Coming off a record low last week of 54%, as we mentioned earlier. It's obviously got to be in the mindset of the players regarding that stat, and when you've got the best team in the competition in pressure, you've got to work at it.
Only 6 goals for the year, Montagna, and won't be another. Gee, I'm taking a close look at the goalposts of that Subiaco and Glenn and Jared, and they are bent. I know you can't see it from that angle there, but they are not standing straight. They are wider at the top than they are at the bottom. I would like to send Lee Colbert to measure those at half-time.
Maybe Ray is not the only one with concussion.
I'm telling you, Jared, those posts are not straight like I've seen other posts.
I'm with you. They do look like there's a bit of a kink in the middle of them. We'll get Lee with his set square out at half-time. But right now...
That'd be a level, Jared.
And a level as well.
Well, we do have one of the best ground managers here, BT, so we'll have to get a call down on him and measure him at half-time.
Meanwhile, the Eagles are going to go inside their forward 50.
Kennedy has been impressive. Hansen goes with a flight and doing well in the end. For the Saints and Rafael Clark.
Just a couple of other matchups. Ebert, who's been in pretty good form, is up against Del Santo. Dawson's on Kennedy, as we know. Stenglein, I reckon he's got a negative role on Gilbert, given Gilbert's great form.
McAvoy knocking the ball down. Here's Butler. Selwood involved, and the Eagles need some clean ball handling here. Rose has got time to think. Takes it from the boundary line and goes slightly corridor. Kennedy was being held, should have been paid the mark or the free. One or the other. He was unlucky not to receive something out of that deal. Here's Cocky, one of the leading tacklers for the West Coast Eagles as well. Dawson will mark this in the defensive goal square. And the Saints out of trouble. Farron Ray very, very slow and comfortable. Just not moving the ball quickly enough there. And the crowd like what they're seeing from the Eagles.
Let's just have a look at here. Zach Dawson, he gets to the front of the pack, but he fails to go to footy, and that's going to be the next level of his development when he starts attacking and tracking the footy, not just with a head for his opponent.
Nikoski and Pritis here, and see Farron Ray getting caught with the ball there a moment ago, and in last week's memorable game, that Would have been a certain tackle.
Any signs of fatigue or lethargy, BT, after the focus of round 15?
Just the lethargy there with Farron Ray, perhaps Jared, and taking a little bit more time to get rid of the ball than he would have last week for sure.
Well, they're enjoying the first 10 minutes here, West Coast. They've done pretty good here. They haven't been hammered on the scoreboard as yet with the dominance of St Kilda. They've had 5 inside 50s, but the last couple of moments, that on Farron Ray, a couple of good body hits will do their confidence the world of good.
Pretty messy sort of play here at the moment in the Eagles' forward attack zone. Ball it up again. The hush here at the crowd. A crowd of 35,000 in here as we speak. Result for a team that's won just 4. The Saints, of course, a big attraction. About 1,000 or 2,000 supporters have followed them over from Victoria as well. They were here early, witnessing one of the memorable Indigenous games that we've seen on this ground with some youngsters.
And what talent they've had on both sides.
They have indeed. Rewalt, glass the fist. Looking forward to seeing that contest mature today.
On the boundary line, Colby, a mass of rotations going on.
It's all happening. It's pretty hot, so you're going to expect that throughout the day. Sam Butler, who's had a lot of trouble with his osteitis pubis, has come to the bench in a lot of trouble, so I'll keep an eye on him.
Are you expecting more rotations from St Kilda today, given the tough situation of last week, Colby?
And the extra 15 metres, BT, as Jared pointed out, it's going to take it out of them.
In the oval length, you're quite right. Here's Graham. Kick wide, and once again backing up is Fisher.
Nice
Good
work.
kick, wasn't it? Beautiful kick. And an opportunity for the man that was included in today's side, Dempster.
It's a pretty handy inclusion to bring a premiership player in now. We know that he had a serious injury. He's fought back, and he's now just coming good at the right time to have another crack at a finals campaign.
He looks ripped as Dempster comes in. That one's pretty tight, and he's missed it just to the left-hand side.
Launched the footy, though.
He did indeed, and when you get a chance to come into this side, Jared, you don't want to let it slip, do you?
Well, I think that's the message that they are sending down at St Kilda. They're not dropping blokes, they're not going to rest fellows.
No
they're
such
going to
policy,
play
is there?
straight through, and if they lose a couple along the way, so be it. But there's competition for spots, as there is down at Geelong, of course.
But will that hurt them in the end, Jared? The fact they've only played 25, 26 players this year, and they've all had to basically do the workload and not share it all that much. Is that going to hurt them in the end?
I think only hindsight will tell you that one, BT.
Yep.
And if you're chasing that flag, it's amazing how much more you can run.
Mitch Brown, a pretty ordinary kick that Hanson was able to tidy up, and here's Selwood. Got the run forward. It was a very good kick indeed, and Stengwine was able to take the mark. A little bit too far out for him, I would think. A high ball to the top of the square. Cocky's the only chance there, but
Didn't think it through. Had to think that one through a little bit better as an experienced player. 4 on to 1, and young Cocky was a small player.
Tell you what, the Saints' skills are not sharp. They are not on at the moment. Ebert, hunch away.
Dempster it was.
Yeah, Del Sano a little slow to get rid of it as well. Just taking a while to find the rhythm here at the moment, the Saints. And that's good credit to the Eagles. Here's McQualter.
Right.
It was through a bit of traffic. Now Dempster again, Jared, getting involved a lot early.
He's looking pretty hungry, although not a great kick, that one.
An example of the skills just not being on at the moment. Nikoski. Now Spanger's got the opportunity to find something in middle.
Hanson.
McKinney goes to Hanson. Hanson will take the mark, 40 out directly in front.
Well, it's a good rebound, and that's what they've got to do a little bit better at the Eagles. They won the ball back after a poor kick from Dempster, and then they went straight down the middle, and instead of mucking it around with too many handballs, they had a forward option that was already open, and they delivered. It wasn't a brilliant kick, it wasn't a spearing kick, but it found its mark.
Lash Hanson here will line up with an opportunity to kick the West Coast first goal some 14 minutes into the first quarter, I might add. And he comes, normally a pretty reliable kick, and that's a great wind-up. Beautiful kick by Hanson. The Eagles get there first.
Well, it was a good burst of pace by McQualter through the middle of the ground, but he just failed to execute, and Nikoski on the end of it. He teamed up well with Wirraprunda, and then the chain of handballs through the middle of the ground, and good to see that he looked up straight away and looking for a player there, Patrick McGinnity and Ash Hanson, a welcome return. He's had a couple of grabs already, so that couple of marks plus that goal will do his confidence the world of good.
He's moving well at the moment. Hanson prepared to run pretty hard. Ashley Hanson there with his first goal on return, and he's worked hard. He's run laterally, done a lot of movement already in the game, and that's a good sign. He'll be wanting to cement his place back in this side after spending several weeks. Round 6 was his last senior game with the Eagles. Look at the Gardner tap to Montagna, was really good with the Eagles defence right onto it.
Thank you.
But Gardner, superior hands in the middle on that occasion.
Yeah, I think it was just a little fumble there from Montagna that didn't allow him to get a quick handball away.
Gardner and Cox tying each other up, and one of the few players that can just stand there and go with Cox in terms of the height without a leap. Pretty scrappy affair.
Gee, I like the work that Cocky's doing at the minute. He made a fair amount of tackles last week. It's nearly close. See the umpire getting in a bit of trouble there.
Yeah, Embley there. Heard Ray Chamberlain say get out of the way, and Embley didn't take any notice of that. Might be a little bit of action on that. We'll keep an eye on it. Here's Rosa to Selwood. Selwood with a sweeping kick to Hanson, who presents.
Good footing.
Plays on his non-preferred side, and Dawson was able to make the smother.
I'm just not sure what he was actually going to do with that kick. Now, if you look to where he was kicking it, there's a 2-on-2 situation. It wasn't a measured, let's just find a target inside forward 50. It was basically just a Hail Mary.
And on his non-preferred side, here's Cox. Great hands out wide. Selwood around the corner. Lacroix got nudged under the ball nicely by Rafal Clark.
They go out.
It is. They are not switched on, are they?
Well, just noticed a couple of signs. Lee Montagna did a fumble in the middle of the ground. That kick from Raphael Clark. Just a couple of percent off. And West Coast seem to have their work rate up, so they got numbers there to pounce on an opportunity.
Cox in front this time. Goddard, and hands not clean. And Jared, there are just a few signs at the moment that...
Pretty hot weather out there, BT.
Oh,
I think
Jared, it's 21 degrees and perfect.
Well,
it's not hot.
If you've been living where we've been living for the last week, it is a difference of about 9 or 10 degrees.
I'll give it, on leaving Melbourne this morning, she was almost snowing, but it is not hot, Jared. It is lovely.
It'd be very unusual for a side like St Kilda not to have some sort of mental letdown. There is no doubt there's an opportunity here for the West Coast to get themselves a little advantage, but they've got to do it before St Kilda wake up.
Fans shielding their eyes from the sun here today, but it's not overly hot, it's just warm. There's Maston. Around the corner with a kick wide. Kennedy.
That's a free.
Blake was manhandling. A free. Advantage paid as Embley chips the ball downfield to Lacroix. And he likes this pocket. Mark Lacroix, 37 goals on the year from his 13 games so far, this being his 14th game.
Whenever there's a big upset, everything goes right. We've got a stink on the wing here. A couple of blokes throwing a few punches. Nick Rewell being tried to be dragged to the ground, but too strong.
Well, thank goodness we've got something happening here. Milne's in the middle of it, of course, and
Well, Milne's were gone. Eric McKenzie and Darren Larson Kaplan's just stood up for his yellow player.
Mark Lacroix with a pretty good-looking kick to the near side. And a minor score, so West Coast 1-1-7, St Kilda 1-3-9. Milne comes for a spell to the bench. The Saints work out a defence here. Graham over the top. Goddard, a lovely user of the ball. Not so great. Once again, their skills let them down. In the shade of the stands, Hanson was tackled by McQuilder. Did well to get rid of it in the end legally. Hearn, Workunda, into the middle. Cox got the runner in Spanger. The umpire got in the way on that occasion. Spanger through the middle with some action. A long ball. Lacroix again puts up the one hand with the other one held. The umpire said no. Sten blind. Rafal Clark hit over the ball. Gave it straight to Lynch. Kick around the corner. Will they pay the advantage? Too high. It'll be a free Saints way. It'll come back and go to Rafal Clark.
Won't question Mitch Brown's attack on the football, and this is why they recruited him. Was there a free kick there? Touch and go. Good couple of hits there, but in the end, just a little bit reckless there.
Looked like a free kick to me, Jacko, but the one thing that Crowd needs to learn is that when you're a forward, you can't keep continually changing your lead. Spanger's got to look up and kick the ball. He wants to know which way he's going. Or what's Lacroix? He went 3 ways, and in the finish, Spanger had kicked it to his second lead, not his third.
Great mark there from Gartner. He just launched over the top, even though I reckon it was about a metre out of bounds. By the time he completed the mark, he is all of a sudden getting his ability to jump and take contested marks back. Michael Gardner. McAvoy, strong hands.
The yard off the post was Darren Glass. He goes just that little bit early. But right now, St Kilda is struggling to penetrate the zone that the West Coast have employed.
Rewalt, look at that kick from Goddard to Rewalt. Now Rewalt's had to come a long way up. Kazitsky's found some space. Rewalt noticed that lead far too late. And too many players got back into the hole, but McAvoy almost took a juggling mark. Farron Ray's in there, and in the end it was a little bit late with that kick. So a low-scoring start to this one. We've into red time. We've played 20 minutes. Just under 6 remain in the quarter.
Ebert really giving it to Del Santo, making him work particularly hard for his space, and that's the second time they've run into Ray.
Del Santo with the 4 disposals to date, all of those handballs. He's not able to use his kicking skills just yet. McAvoy, the palm down and 3 West Coast way. The umpire say, and that'll be Selwood. A lot of creative juices flowing in this one just yet. Hearn.
Oh, look out.
Punda.
Look out.
On Hearn. Gone. He gave him 2 chances then. The first, a slip. Tackled again. Gave him every chance, and this will be a free kick going St Kilda's way. And it looks like it may well be McQualter. Fair call, boys, I think.
Don't think there was any doubt about it. He needed to give the first thought handball. Even if he was under pressure, he could have then run forward and got the double overlap. But Andrew McQualter, nice bit of pressure.
In his 50th game, Jared, McQualter for the Saints comes in and has kicked it across the face. And that's some kicking skills not on display here just at the moment.
No, they're their own worst enemies right now. And the Eagles, Jacko, they've got an opportunity here.
Oh, they certainly have. They're suffocating St Kilda in the sense, okay, it's a bigger ground, and the key forwards and the midfielders have to run and carry the ball and lead a bit further. And they're just playing a bit of stationary footy, not allowing St Kilda that free flow on run football that we've enjoyed the last 14 weeks.
There's trouble. Del Santo to Fisher. Just got the kick away wide to Gardner, who snuck forward. Punda could have almost got a free. Gilbert kept it alive and around the corner. In the end, you're quite right, Jared, that Eagles have a real opportunity here to make an impression on the scoreboard because they've got the Saints not at full pace at the moment. Free kick to Del Santo, and this is on his left side as well. Don't be surprised if he converts this.
One of the areas Eagles are playing themselves into trouble is they, in the back half, they're forced into the pocket or switch a play, and they're playing on for no reason. I know you're going to try and get a bit of flow on, but don't play on into trouble.
Del Santo, a beautiful kick of the ball, and that is no exception. Just did it so beautifully, Nick Del Santo.
Well, the Eagles are going to realise they're not a very, very good side where they can flirt with a bit of danger, especially against a high-pressure side. There we see the hand on Del Santo's face by Cocky. But they've just played on... Look, this kick didn't hit the target. Well, it could have been a free kick there as well on Selwood.
Definitely. Thought both free kicks were a bit lame, but he didn't make any mistakes there, Nick Del Santo, straight through.
Saints by 9 points. Del Santo gets his first with his first kick of the day. Had 5 or 6 handballs up to date, but his first actual kick. Back in the middle of the ground, 4 minutes remain, and the Eagles out of the middle. Cocky with a pretty ordinary kick forward that Kennedy did his best to get on the end of and just failed to capitalise.
Have you seen his development, BT? Kennedy as a key forward.
Absolutely loving it, Jared. Every time I watch him play, he appears to get better and more confident. And he's a rangy 6'5", 6'6" player. And he looks like a real key position player of the future with really good athleticism and energy. He's a little bigger than you think, Lee Colbert, when you talk about Josh Kennedy, isn't he?
When you stand next to him, BT, he's right up there. He's 196, 197 centimetres and moves very, very well, as you mentioned.
He does. Scrap for the ball. Hasn't reached any great heights just at the moment this game yet, Jared, but
no, it's
I'm
as flat as
expecting
attack.
it to.
It's as flat as attack, BT, and I know you're going to lift and get them moving. But Colby, I want you to get inside the Saints camp at quarter time. I'll be very interested to just understand the mindset of where Ross Lyon's at the moment.
Well, I've actually been given the green light to go in the Eagles camp, Jared, so I'm going to be standing right alongside John Worsfold and probably going to crack at the magnets at some stage.
Well, Colby, I know you've been given permission to do that, but we're going to de-permissionise you and send you the other way, I think, because we really need to know the attitude of the Saints. I know you've done well to get access to a no-access area, but bad luck. Blake's marked it on half-back. Across goal here. There's no word back from Colby. I don't think he's liking what he's hearing.
He thought he had a nice soft quarter time coming up.
Dawson's handball, a little heavy for Graham. The tackling's on here, and that's a free. It should be to the West Coast.
Might have just got him over the shoulders, not over the head, but McGinnity went in, led with his noggin.
Ray Chamberlain in charge here, diminutive man, but a man of great talent when it comes to umpiring. There's Montagna, Lynch and Maston combining. Selwood lightning with the hands, too much heat on it for Butler to handle. And in the end,
very much the story of their year, BT. We've seen a lot of the Eagles, and I know, Jacko, you've been tearing your hair out at times. Won the ball well, contested ball, right up there with the top sides in the competition, but just keep giving it back.
Just overused the handball too. Probably one or too many handballs. I know it's an offensive tool to set up, but if you can't execute, and on that occasion Sam Butler dropped what was a relatively easy receive.
Have a look at this wide shot here. The one-on-one that West Coast are applying, every player is accounted for from a St Kilda point of view there at the moment. And it's about the only thing they can do to a team like the Saints, and now all of a sudden, because of the turnover, they're away.
All the way.
The outside player here is Jones. Took a little while to get rid of it again. Boy, how many times has that happened in this quarter?
Well, that was a stuff up because he hasn't got a right foot.
Yep, absolutely. And just the time to dispose of the ball. They think they're playing a team that is less superior in the tackling stakes to others, and therefore taking more time to get rid of it. There's Rosa, Hearn, and now Punda.
Big Cox is actually on the charge, and this is what he's got to do more of. Get up the ground, get into the middle, and start penetrating forward 50.
Kick not bad, just a little to the right-hand side of Hanson. In they come. Mitch Brown loves to break and run. He's found Hanson, who's got Embley on. Embley can take his time, take a bounce, man, if you want to. Embley doesn't need it, and he gets it. The Eagles are up and about, Jared, I feel it.
Well, it's good play from the half-back line.
That's the first you've spoken for 10 minutes, Jacko. It's great to have you on board. This is fantastic.
It's easy, boys, easy. But the ability just to clear the defensive zone, a couple of switches, you heard the frustration of the crowd, but they waited for the right option. You've got to be patient, and you called it. Dean Cox had the charge through the middle of the ground and then set up the play from there. Good finish in the end, good couple of handballs. And Mitch Brown attacked the ball real hard that occasion. Fantastic play.
What a finish from Andrew Embley. Ross Lyon, he knows. He's got some issues to address at quarter time. Lee Cole will be right there.
It's more of
listening.
It's something the coach can actually do something about this, can't he? He can somehow knock them out of their slumber.
Yeah, I think it's always best when it's player-driven, and I reckon all the players there are smart enough to know what the problem is, but...
Here is an opportunity for McWalter. Turns around, has a shot at goal, and I think it's over the line and the goal. I think McWalter may well have this. He does.
Good response, and that's what the players can do about it. Let's get the ball out of the centre. That's the second time so far in this quarter that they have rushed the ball straight from the centre clearance, bang towards a goal. Pretty good performance that by the Saints, and the best way to respond. Jacko.
Yes.
Okay.
So immediately the Saints are able to respond. A bit of McWalter with his first of the day, and she's goal for goal here at the moment with 1:15 remaining in the first quarter. Back in the middle, here's Jones starting to get busy now. The Saints, the high ball to centre half forward. Spanger. Not rightly played the mark in the end. So he's playing with a bit of energy in this game at the moment, Spanger.
Have you seen his development as a key defender, Jacko?
Oh, it's improving all the time, Jared. There's no doubt he's had some big jobs, but he's that running half-backman that can set up play and just use his skills a bit better.
Just getting themselves into trouble with the over possession there, the Eagles, and that's what St Kilda do to teams. They strangle you. If you're going to handball the ball around in circles in the back half, they'll eventually catch up with you.
Yeah, well, that handball was just hospitalised.
The back, here's Graham. The tackle by McGinnity. And now McGinnity with the ball. Inclusion inside today.
Great pressure from the West Coast Eagles. We've got to be careful when they grab balls and they're hot. I mean, that one from Darren Glass is just a death handball.
He had nowhere else to go, though, Jared. He had someone on his tail.
He could have kept running until he was tackled, get the ball above his head. I mean, eventually he may have had to put it to someone under pressure.
Montagna and Jones combining, and now Graham.
Me too.
The three blondes.
Wasn't a great kick.
Wasn't good, was it? There's Blake over the top, doesn't take any risks, and defensively does the right thing by his teammates.
End of the day, the Saints still are 9 points in front. They haven't played well. The Eagles have worked hard, but they just haven't taken anywhere near the opportunities that have presented the Eagles.
And they've had 21 disposals more than St Kilda, so their work rate is fantastic. John Morsell will be very happy about that at quarter time. They've just got to now put more scoreboard pressure on.
The Saints defenders, and there is the quarter time siren. So as you say, Glenn, the Saints lead it by 9 points. Lee Colbert, you get out to the Saints huddle because we want to know what's going on out there at quarter time.
To 3, but
Jared, you compare this with last week in the game that St Kilda involved with last week, and you go, how can it happen? How can a side be so different mentally?
well, they're not robots, and you know, quite clearly that was the focus for 3 months going in, and it was such a physical game. We saw what happened, not so much the result against Brisbane, but some of the individuals that were playing for Geelong. But once, as we said earlier, opportunity for the Eagles if they can do better with the footy than they're doing.
Brown with a bullet. Couldn't be handled there by Lynch, and now an opportunity. Lacroix hanging around the fringes there. Now Blake is able to, for the Saints, work it out of defence. McQualter's under the ball, though. Punter did well to work it in front where he had the numbers. Really well done, Nikoski, although the handball wasn't great. Straight to Rewalt, and now Milne is able to pick it up, go inside 50. Gardner has got forward there. Won't get on the end of this one. Oh, it's Kaczynski, in fact. Look at that. Great shepherding work there by McKenzie, allowing Punter to come through and pick up the ball.
That's brilliant work from McKenzie. Really good work.
He didn't lose his feet, and he knew that Cossie was behind him, so he was two minds whether to go body contact or keep his eyes on the ball.
That handball put him Maston under the pump. He knew he had to try and evade, and just they don't read what's happening in front of them sometimes, the Eagles. As Fisher from 50 metres out goes for home. Hearns there. Didn't get it over the boundary line, so it'll be a play-on call here. Milne keeps it alive. He's a sneaky little player. What about that for some skills? Gives the Saints a chance. Nikoski off hands. Just their kicking skills. They just need to tidy it up. Nikoski on. Mitch Brown, good awareness to go to Stenglein. Here's Ebert on the wing. He's got Hansen on. It was really well guarded on the mark by Dawson because Hansen was on and he couldn't get it around the corner, Jared. And then he fell over.
And then he got...
then he did a slap.
He did. He unfortunately thought he was going to play on, didn't have the feel for the moment. But it's a good passage of play, an inexperienced bloke. You'll learn from that.
But Dawson did really well on the mark then to block the play on. Prentice in there with a thumping tackle.
Let him up.
Del Santo bouncing off the ground with that Prentice tackle.
Saints have just got to have a look at the way they're bringing the ball inside forward 50 there. I think that Milne kick to space was a bit of a nothing. He would have been almost better off coming back and maintaining possession of the footy.
Embley, little one around the corner, barely the required journey. Graham claims it. The no-look handball from Del Santo out the back had a bit of party trick element about it, and eventually on the end of it, but Lynch couldn't capitalise. Rafael Clark driven into the ground. Gilbert under pressure did well to Graham.
Gardner.
Hot ball out there, you're quite right. Glenn Jakovic as he marks Gardner. The man with never-ending legs, Michael Gardner. Goes out wide to Eddie. From the half-forward line for the Saints. Driving ball, Milne setting himself. Might have infringed with a bit of a push in the back, but he didn't. Glass now. Handball didn't reach its target. Puts Hearn under pressure from Milne. Rewalt, and eventually out of bounds. Have a look at this. Was this a push from Stevie Milne? Forearm in the back. Probably not in the end. Good call by the umpire. It's good to see David Webpunda not flopping forward, trying to talk the umpire into a free. Nikoski did well. Did he take them on? The umpire will rule not.
Tackled immediately, well done.
And hear the umpire explanation then.
So great battle going on between these two ruckmen. They are really having a genuine crack. They know there's plenty at stake from a team perspective, but it looks like there's a bit more to it from a personal issue, Jacko.
Who's got the edge at the moment?
I reckon Gardner's on top at the moment, although if Cox can get the ball running forward a few more times, he'll come back.
What do you think, Glenn?
I think it's even at the minute. I really do. I mean, Cox has gone forward a couple of times, had a couple of forward entries, and Gardner's also showed that he's getting a few possessions as well, a couple of contested marks.
Can the Eagles maintain possession through this area of the ground? Maston to Embley. Embley's got a wide ball on out there and Spanger. Now, if Mackenzie can run forward, it'll be right for the one over the top. There it is now. Handball falls short, and that's what happens. If you're not clean, if you don't find the target, you are in trouble. Especially with the Saints supplying so much pressure. That was great. I think it might have been Graham that got it out. Now Kaczynski with a couple of bounces. He's got a bit of an escort. He's got McWalter on his right and Montagna there on his left. He gives it to the ladder. Montagna launches from 50. Rewalt won't get there. Then the ball will go over the line out of bounds.
Just having the possessions, Cox has had 7 and Gardner's had just 3, but I reckon that Gardner's had the advantage in the hit out. So Jack, I think you're on it. I think it's dead even at the moment, the battle of the heavyweights.
Kaczynski, Montagna, Milne around the corner, makes his living out of these. Hits the post. And this was after a Lee Montagna kick, a bit of a verbal barrage towards Montagna about the way he wants it delivered.
It's been the Achilles heel for St Kilda, despite the fact they've blown a few defensive kicks. Kicking the ball inside 50 and hitting the target has been non-existent.
Montagna, little ball with too much flight about it on that occasion. Did really well, Embley. Chose the right decision in the end. Spanger, Baker, here's Prittis. Maston been involved in everything. Tackled. Prittis needs to be cool here. That is really good touch, feel, and a great decision made by Prittis.
Got him. He got him just by his instincts, and he slipped over Milne. Unfortunately, went to go at it, but he didn't come off the line. So, luck's a fortune for West Coast there.
So Ebert will get on the end of this one. Lynch wants it, and that's where it's going, but it's too short. You talk about turning it over by foot. There's no better team than doing it than the West Coast Eagles. Rewalt.
And that's not a skilled error, BT, that's a decision error. And Ebert's a really talented young man that's going to make less of those, but I mean, he's played enough footy now to think that through better.
He's run well here, Blake, past his opponent there, or direct opponent, which was Mitch Brown. Mitch had to go with him, but he just ran a lot harder than Jason Blake.
So Blake will line up, hasn't kicked the goal this year. Blake is a reliable defender in game 151. Beautiful kick by Rewalt. Great accuracy with great length. As Blake lines up, quite benign conditions here. The flags are virtually in no flutter mode today as he kicks it left. Ross Lyon and team. Tony Elshaw in the front there, just to the extreme right-hand side. Former right-hand man to Dennis Pagan. Nikoski. Lynch has got to do some work there. We'll go to Lynch, a little lucky there.
Well, the free kick was for a hold. And you'd like to see him paid if they're there, but just got a question.
Geez, that looked like a grab.
Nikoski's kicked 2-1 again.
Cocky went back then, probably should have got a free. It's Gardner, look at the handball. Give it. Ball's been very quiet in this game. Gerard, that's just his second touch for the game.
Yes, yes, he hasn't had much footy.
There's Gardner to Rewalt. Just attacks the ball, and trailing in there was Glass. Milner around the corner, beautiful at selling this sort of kick. Goes with a low ball to McQualter. In the end, punched away Workwinder. Maston the give and go, and now Rosa. Oh boy, not great. The foot skills of the Eagles continue to haunt them at the moment.
Well, just not sure what your logic is in kicking a ball under 15 metres, because
Just take a look at this tackle here by Cocky. I mean, he's just working real hard. Come up. Well, it wasn't that direct. That's it.
He did well to back into the pack there, Cocky.
A theme for quarter time, gentlemen, for the Saints was they talked about the ground and adjusting to it, and I just wonder, Gerard, you spoke about it for the Eagles before the game, but Kazitsky's only had the one possession, and certainly he's been the get-out kick. Hasn't had much of that today.
yeah, I think the extra length of this ground is a bit of a concern for the setup for the Saints.
Now there's a blood rule here against Lenny Hayes, and
Let's go, Lenny.
just reckon there's virtually no blood on him. Just a nip there, but the rule is, and I go on about this every week, the rule is it must be free-flowing blood, Glenn. If it's just a spot, a little dribble, it's not free-flowing, you don't have to come off.
Now, Colby, there was an incident on the boundary line, and I suspect it was to do with Michael Gardner. Did he give a two-fingered salute to the crowd or something?
Well, I'm not quite sure whether it was Gardy or the fact that they ran two players on before Lenny Hayes came off the ground, which they're allowed to do in a blood rule. So they were complaining that it might have been a free kick, I believe.
Might have been just a hello from to the crowd.
Here's Del Sano, Ray, and now Rafael Clark. Around the tackle, and hasn't been a game of great quality just yet. We're expecting it to get there, so stay tuned. 3-6-24 the Saints, West Coast 2-1-13. The good thing about this from a West Coast point of view is that we're midway through the second quarter, not all that far off half time, and they're very much in the game against a side that hasn't lost a game this year.
Free kick for holding at the stoppage there.
Del Sano with a chipping ball. Rewar on the lead. Very good overhead.
I think John Walsall mind those free kicks going, because it tells him that his players are playing man on man with the likes of Ball, Del Santo, Jones, Ray, Goddard. Always not having a huge influence at the minute.
Rewalt inboard, mark almost taken. Nikoski, bit of a flop there, and McQualter, Milne, Ray, round the corner, it's online, and Farron Ray gets it.
Well, they made something out of nothing there, St. Kilda, just a weight of numbers. It was an ugly scrimmage, but kept the ball alive, and the ball just snuck out. An opportunist, Becken, and a great goal by Farron Ray.
Yeah, it's nice work there, just getting the ball out. Just a quick flip, not sure it was intentional, but it certainly worked. Milne's claiming it, and in the finish, they did get the result. How'd you see it, Brian? Yes or no? Maybe.
No. So Farron Ray able to get the first of consecutive goals for the Saints as Gardner takes a spell. Getting a bit of a rub down in a rather funny area. As Selwood out of the middle.
Just let me look forward. Colby, the big issue was whether or not the Eagles were going to be able to penetrate the defence. And right now the Eagles have had just 13 inside 50s, about to be 14.
That looks like the factor indeed, Gerard. You're right. Being able to get it down there enough to give him some scoring opportunities. It looks like one of those games where the Saints are going to win, but the Eagles are going to sort of be thereabouts all day.
Yeah, I think summing it up, unless the Eagles can do something about getting the ball within goal scoring distance, and when they do make something of it, it's going to be a slog.
Josh Kennedy will line up from well beyond the arc from Quentin Lynch territory. Kennedy fancies himself. Let's have a look at it.
Oh,
Lynch
Quentin tried to slide behind.
He was lurking. Gets some leverage by running out to the right at the last moment and keeps it out to the right.
This one play in particular that I want to just highlight, Jared, Matt Prentice. He's had the 11 possessions, but they've all been backward of the centre, and he hasn't had one inside 50 yet. When they're up and running, the Eagles, and when they've enjoyed a couple of their wins, he's a bit of a playmaker who can actually deliver the ball with some efficiency in the forward line, and they're lacking that a little bit at the minute. They need to get him forward of the play.
Yeah, they need to get the ball forward for him to get forward, though.
McAvoy couldn't hold that one. We'll have a ball up as a result.
He's got a pretty tough job, though. He's being well and truly minded by one of the tougher stoppers in the business right now. Clint Jones has, I think, built a significant reputation this year.
Certainly has.
Has he lost to anyone this year, Jared?
Haven't seen him stitched up, BT.
Yep, completely. Obviously, at various stages, players might have got on top for a quarter here and there, but
He's got a big belt full of scalps of some of the bigger names in the game, though.
the most improved player in the competition. Clint Jones would be in the running for.
I reckon he's probably had a fair bit of tutelage from Stevie Baker.
Here's Kennedy around the corner with a beautiful snap. That's the one the Eagles needed.
Well, Josh Kennedy, fantastic play because he was playing forward. That's what you need to do. He had a couple of yards on his direct opponent, so if they're not going to man you up, you are an opportunist. Sneak forward. Quentin Lynch used his smarts and his strength there. And just notice the last couple of passages of play for Josh Kennedy. He got a nice tackle, disposed of the ball correctly, and won himself a free kick. But that was just instinct. Had to put it on the boot. And if you're going to give players some space in the forward line, you've got to hurt them the other way, and that's what they did. Good play.
Good goal by Josh Kennedy. His third touch of the day, and he'd be happy with that. A goal apiece here in the second quarter, and the Eagles very much in the hunt. 11 points down.
Goddard's been pushed into the centre, and they'll continue to maintain a lot of rotations through the middle.
Ebert did well to read the knock from Gardner then. There he is again, Ebert. Upunda, an inside-out, deliberate little flick pass ball. Great creativeness from Upunda, as Lynch knows no more than to kick it long, and why not? Leclerc. Beautiful use of the body, Leclerc.
He's got to not panic here, go back and back himself. He can make the distance here. Back-to-back goals will really bring the home crowd into it and restore a lot of confidence into the Eagles' mindset, their belief that they can close the gap and threaten this game.
Big chance here, Colby, for the Eagles, because just looking at some of the energy coming from the Saints, it's at game low right now.
Indeed, and I'm right behind Leclerc in this one. He's a beautiful kick for goal. And put it in the book, boys.
Well, go and call it for us.
Righto. Lining up.
That was your first passage to call there, Colby, and you fell for the old three-card trick by putting the Moz on a goal kicker. So Leclerc making a bit of a mess of that one, normally fairly reliable in that situation. Here's Montagna, the Saints leading tackler of the year. He had 11 tackles last week, Montagna, in that game of the century. Baron Ray to Graham, who's getting it a little bit.
Was to no one.
Yeah, got a bit of a smother on it, Jared. That's what happens when you can deflect the ball. There's Rosa.
Genuine chance here. He's just got to get it between the big sticks.
Stenglein inside 50, caught behind Kennedy, and gives away the three as well.
Better play from Blake. He was behind the last time Kennedy kicked a goal. That's why he's a smart player. He learns quickly.
Farron Ray goes wide. This will be knocked away. The Eagles keep it alive at their forward end. There's Rafael Clark. Under some pressure, thought his way through nicely. Good result. Montagna got dealt with after he got rid of the ball. Should have got a free. Kaczynski really crashed the contested pack. Kick a little high, but Mitch Brown did well. They've got Rosa on wide who can run the goal. Should have given it. Should have given it Mitch Brown. He didn't. Now he goes long to the contested mark of Hansen. Far at the back. Which way's it going to go?
Good umpiring
Against the Eagles.
Trying to bluff him on there. Just got at the back of it because he saw Ash Hansen coming over who was going to create the contest. But look at the forearm in the back here. Well, that's the rule.
I saw 4 St Kilda jumpers to 2 Eagles. That's surely a dumb kick into the forward line.
Well, previous one by Stengline to Josh Kennedy.
Especially when he had the player running wide there. Jared
Rosa.
Jacko, he had Rosa wide free and was able to run inside 15. Saw him but didn't use him. Here's Embley with a chance, commits his body, Embley.
Nice work, Embley.
Well done. Eyes flat footy, Embley. Really good stuff.
They've had 10 minutes here, or 8 minutes at least, where they've dominated possession of the footy. Nick Riewald's getting a suntan at the other end of the ground.
10 points down the Saints. There's Pritis. They need to get something to stick the Eagles. Gilbert out of defence. Sliding ball by Blake by hand inside. Gilbert went with a low chip at a Riewald. Wonderful attempt to pick it up, didn't get it. Glass tries to charge his way through, putting the head down. Farron Ray's in there. He won't get it free, and the Eagles very resilient at the moment.
Just blew another opportunity though. Matthew Pritis, he wins the ball at the last stoppage, and then it was just a Hail Mary handball that went to 2 St Kilda players. If he's going to get to that next level as a midfielder of that in and under quality, he's got to hit targets.
Selwood didn't have the journey from the crowd. Free kick will go to Dawson.
Well, he had to force the free kick because he wanted to do a contest. Once again, Jared, you mentioned poor decision, 2-on-1. So a little bit undisciplined, but he was frustrated because of the number dropping back.
Let's have a look at this handball from Pritis. Okay, wins the ball. And then a handball to who?
They spotted out.
Dawson. Gardner over the top of Lynch. Back of the pack, opportunity McQualter. Lovely advantage ball. Look at the pick up from Riewald. Tried to give it in the one go, just couldn't quite pull it off. You've got to hit him with the foot pass in the first place.
Right, see Embley here. He is screaming for it.
Kennedy went too early.
He's still there. He's been there for a long time. He's got to hit this target.
Embley was there. Now an opportunity. Needs a Shepherd from Spanger. Got it. Short ball. Kennedy marks directly in front.
Spanger. Well, Spanger in the end that made this a potential shot at goal, or a definite potential shot at goal, but whether or not he kicks it or not's the question. He elected not to get on the end of the handball, but to reverse back and to have a look at and Shepherd, have a look at it unfold.
Kennedy to make it successive goals and get the Eagles within 4 points as we close in on the first half. Bit of a hushed crowd as they wait on the result of the Kennedy kick. In he comes, point blank range. He's got it. The Eagles are back within 4. Their hard work is paying off.
Well, they're just forcing St Kilda into mistakes. You spoke about Nick Riewald. He came up, picked up the ball, great handball, but he tried to just do too much. That's low percentage football. The Eagles went down the other end, and Ash Hansen took the mark, lifted his vision, and Embley just presented as an option. As you mentioned, good work by Spanger there, just allowed a bit of space, but Kennedy finding space again, no one on him.
Just needs to get the energy level up, Jack Dawson. He's been given a couple of canings in the last 10.
Josh Kennedy, couple of goals today, and as we spoke about earlier in the game, continues to improve and looks like he's going to become a permanent part of the West Coast forward mix. Gardner in the middle, Pritis, Crofton up, Jones. Just that sort of kick for the Saints hasn't hit the mark yet today. Hearn and Maston and Selwood along with Nikoski. Maston needs to be clean, and that wasn't great. Kennedy was in front again, did well, got it to Pritis. Left footer, remember. The right foot would have been good. Here's Leclerc, got his man one-on-one. And Rafael Clark, he does suffer Glenn and misses.
While they're threatening, it was ugly through the middle of the ground by Maston. Just had to hit a target and put Kennedy under pressure. But what's pleasing from an Eagles perspective is they've got numbers at each of the contests. And I've just noticed St Kilda, the kicks are not hitting their targets. They're falling short, but they're diving and going to ground. A sin in football, you can't go to ground.
Del Santo to Graham. Got a Rafael Clark opportunity wide, which they take up.
Keep an eye on Dean Cox, boys, too. He's actually doing the ruck work in the centre and then pushing hard forward on Gardner, trying to get a goal.
And he's cutting that kick to switch the play off there as well, and it actually forced that one out of bounds because they wanted to go to the goal square. Gardner was minding, I think, Blake down there, and forced them to go along the line. They've kicked it out of bounds on the full. Here's Selwood, sends it high. Embley's got to run on it, so is Hanson, so is Cox. No one could mark it in the air. Players converge, and we have a very congested situation. Trying to take it out of there was McGinnity. And the Eagles, once again, would be happy with this. They lock it inside their forward 50.
Now, Raf Clark, BT, he's third clanger for the day.
Yep.
He hasn't been very much a part of this St Kilda winning surge.
Well, positions are hot in this team, Jared, and I don't know whether that's going to secure his position.
No, it's certainly going to help make them ask the question. They love him, this match committee down there. They know what he's got to offer at the top end, but if he can't get close to it, he'll be out.
There's Gilbert. And Blake immediately turns for support, and instantaneously it's there. But the kick wasn't great because of the pressure. Butler with a fast and furious handball out wide to Maston, and he wanted a free, but there was nothing on, and eventually Eddie came out with the ball, and here the tapping and the pressure of the Eagles is getting better and better by the moment.
Like Maston's game, Jacko, I think sometimes he blows some possessions, but his work rate today has been first class.
And so many possessions, as you mentioned.
Every time they thwart a St Kilda attack, they're gaining confidence here, the Eagles. You can feel them lifting.
Eagles, a lot of the Saints players look like they've got cement boots on.
They do. Dempster. Both teams from last week, Geelong and St Kilda, looking like they're certainly Geelong, and now in the first half here anyway, looks like the Saints are feeling the effects of that very harsh and heavy game of last week. One of the best games that many footballing experts have seen for some time. Here's Embley. Just a little slip. Now Rewalt's a good user of the ball. This is no exception, or it is. On the bounce to Kosicki. High handball, McCoskey. They can run here, the Eagles. There's Spanger. Need to be tidy. Spanger took them on. Got rid of the handball. Umpire said a throw.
I think you might have most tidy too, the umpire. Nick Rewalt's the one who looks least affected by last week. He's running hard, working hard. Was handled. Throw it up in the air, Jacko.
Inboard, here's Lynch. Didn't get contact with the ball. Gilbert fell over. Still got it away. Jones from 50, a high ball. Embley's one-on-one with Rewalt. Got a fist there off hands. Little kick at goal missed. Could have conceded. In the end, Hearn.
Did well.
Lynch. One of the few times in his career I've seen him go short. Didn't hit the target. Stenglein wraps the tackler. Kick around the corner, and guess what? An opportunity for Del Santo.
And on his left side too. Lynch just had to hit that target. I know they're kicking efficiencies, we mentioned it before, but they're lacking confidence in hitting basic skills. There was no pressure to hit Stenglein on that occasion on the out.
This goal
under enormous pressure
would hurt the Eagles. Del Santo got one from the boundary at the other end, and this is the pocket where you can kick them from.
Very happy.
And that looks pretty good as well. Nick Del Santo has made it look easy from the boundary today.
Jacko, it was a skill error. Sometimes I think the big fella tries to kick the ball a little bit too hard. He just had to get it out in front of his opponent, his teammate. But the rebound, as we just saw the outcome of, has ended up with Nick Del Santo slotting one for the second time late in a quarter today to arrest the slide of the Saints. 2 goals now to Nick Del Santo, number 26.
2 goals for Del Santo, 9-point lead for the Saints just prior to the first half being completed. 2:23 remaining here. The Eagles with all that hard work, and then a goal. 2 goals apiece in the second quarter. Lynch, Cox stolen in the end by Milne. The give to Gardner. Best of licking kicks, but it's going to have a good result because Rewalt's read it beautifully.
He's just running as well as I've ever seen in Nick Rewalt. He's moving particularly well. He's just been frustrated and starved of opportunities. They've only had the ball inside 50 on 23 occasions themselves, St Kilda, which is that'll be one of the year low for them.
Rewalt kicks the goal here, and really a big let-off for them, because West Coast have owned it as Rewalt initially liked it offline and a minor score only. So 1:36 remaining in the half, and 10-point St Kilda lead is certainly not insurmountable by any means. It's Brown needed a punch over the top, went for the mark from behind that occasion, and then had to follow up the ground level ball against Ray.
Both got a bit of it. All right, hey, come on.
Jason Blake getting a bit of time off, and a massage.
Well, it's 24 apiece inside 50s, so they're both certainly not high numbers, but the opportunities have been there for them.
Whether Emble's praying there, or he's in pain, or he's just thinking, or he's a Buddhist.
That pretty nasty clip to the top of the head when he sat under a footy 10 minutes ago.
Getting himself back together down there on the bench, sitting on the esky. Under real pressure here now, the Eagles get it out of here without giving it up, and they will have done well.
Jacko has told us that God is a West Coast Eagles supporter, though, Peter.
Yes, he has. Jones over the top. Maston's got to go a little harder.
Good tackle.
In the end it was. Gilbert did really well to get food on ball. Lynch needed to get the handball away, a little slow. The foul Clark. The intensity just lifting momentarily here now. An opportunity, Montagna, beautiful little sneaky handball. Got it to Goddard around the hole and up. High ball, Kaczynski went from way back. May have infringed. Rapunda there, just Kaczynski throwing him out of the way. We'll have a ball up.
Free kick against Robert Eddie. Dog on the football, Robert.
Maston with this charging tackle on Gilbert.
Yeah, that is too long. That should have been a free kick.
Gave him a fair chance to get rid of it, didn't he? Siren sounds. Saints by 10 points at the half. Embley recovering after that bit of a knock. But it's the St Kilda side, 5-7-37.
Well, interestingly, Lenny Hayes is playing up the ground at this stage. Luke Ball also is starting. He's playing up the ground as well. In the goal squares, Justin Kaczynski. I reckon he's been the one that struggled with the length of the ground. Some of the timing for his marks and leads have not been as we've known them this year.
If you'd said at half-time, Cozzy and Rewalt just one goal between them, Jared, given their good form, you would have thought that not possible.
Not possible.
Hayes out of the middle with a beautiful clean clearance for the Saints. Luke Ball there has been really down on his form today as well. It's Jones to Rewalt. Just took his eyes off the ball momentarily, and now Jones back to Ray. Got Arnts there. Can go to centre half forward. Thought he was going to go to Bernard, but he went across the ground to Graham. Montagna run past it. Now the Eagles are out of the loop. They got Hanson on wide. Embley had to dispose of it quick. Brown drawing the player back inside. That kick's got to find the Kennedy target. It does. Good movement, the Eagles early.
Nice bit of a look to the future there. Brown across half back, kicking out long to Kennedy across half forward.
We're Punda, not 15, so umpire says play on, and he chips it back inboard, and here's Ebert, takes the mark, plays on immediately. Long ball, Lacroix, one out, being held there by Gilbert. Got himself a free, Jared.
Well, it was quick ball moving in that time. It was to a one-on-one situation, which gave Lacroix, as a smart operator, a chance to get the better of his opponent. This time he has done exactly that.
So Lacroix will line up here for his first goal of the day, just 15 metres out. Be easy by AFL standards. Normally reliable. In he comes to give the Eagles some real good enthusiasm here. They're within 4 points, the Eagles.
Well, it was certainly good play by West Coast. St Kilda on their way with a switch of play on their half forward line, but Andrew Embley, I'm going to pay tribute to him because he back in the pack. He wore one in the second quarter and he had to wear it again, and that's where the turnover came, where they were able to run down the ball with clean, efficient skills, and in the end he got his teammate a shot on goal. You see this incident here. He had to go back, Jared. He's already done that before, calls the turnover, and then they were away.
So the Eagles in the opening 2 minutes of this third quarter looking lively. They get a goal and they're within 4 points.
Once again, though, as I rebound across the half-back line, it was an intercepted Goddard kick. They've got to try and get some more footy out of this centre directly, like this one from Prentice.
Yeah, the kick to centre half forward has been marked by Graham, though.
Straight up, Andrew, straight up.
The clearance was good.
Play on, play on.
And now the run from Rafael Clark, and Farron Ray, very, very efficient on his left foot. This one in front of Rewalt. Glass did well to take Rewalt out of the contest physically. Rewalt not happy with it. And the kick, not great.
I think he had a case of tunnelling there. I thought he took the body before the contest, and I think that's what he was pleading to the umpire for.
Clark to Goddard. With the call from Graham, who will look to go straight down the middle with that penetrating run and kick. Beautiful, wasn't it? Here's ball. One of his few touches around the corner. Milne presents.
Interesting change of role for Luke Ball. They're almost playing him as a centre half forward.
Milne tries to play on there and sneak, but he's got to go behind the mark.
Ahead of the mark.
They've got Ball
Actually,
in the true centre half forward, and Nick Rewald about starting his charge from about 35 out.
Jared, Milne's right there because the umpire said come back a couple.
Yeah.
Milne didn't. He just went straight on. He already over the mark. The umpire was going to bring the West Coast player back a couple of metres. It meant that Milne was within his rights to play on.
I think he called time on though.
Okay, quick time on, Jared. Now Milne, he's one of the most accurate in the business.
Yeah,
when you say things like that, you know they're no hope. 5-point margin in favour of the Saints. He went through a year, I can remember he got deep into a year once, Stevie Milne, and I think he'd kicked 25 goals 1 or 25 goals 2 with his set shots. He's very good, very efficient player up forward. Here's Cox. Short to Brown. Really like the look of this young player. Coming off the knee, Rico Glenn, and second half of this year he's improving by the game.
Just getting more confidence being out there and more confidence with his body.
Free kick against Ray for grabbing an arm.
Thank you. On the arm.
Jared, Maston and Prentice have had 33 possessions between them, only one inside 50. Now, they're two good playmakers for West Coast. If they're a chance to win this game, they've got to get a bulk of their possessions and penetrate their forward 50.
There they go. They got the loose on. Stengline can find Kennedy long as it got the journey in the kick. Dawson took his eye off the ball, did well to get a hand there on Embley, but in the end, probably should have turned around and watched it.
Yeah, he was tracking the man. He does that a lot, Zach Dawson, and he's going to get exposed until he learns to track both the ball and the man.
And that's about positioning. Get yourself in the right position so you can see both, Jared.
And that time he was well and truly too far forward.
Gee, the Eagles blew a golden opportunity there. They were out of the loop, and the Stengline kick in the end probably didn't have the real penetration and wheels to get where he wanted it to go in time.
Now, Big Quentin won that tap clearly, but it went straight to Nick Del Santo.
Opportunity, Maston will get it very lucky because the Saints had a 5-on-1 going.
Chris Maston.
Maston looks inboard. There were two West Coast players on. He went very wide.
He was off 2 steps. The kick put Nikoski under enormous pressure.
Nikoski did well in amongst 4 St. Kilda players then. Off hands from Brown, picked up by Spanger, goes down the line. Here's Embley. Fell over at the crucial moment, did Fisher. Lines them up, Embley. Good looking ball. Can you believe it? They are in front, the West Coast Eagles.
Jared, I like the role that Andrew Embley's playing. He's that half forward pushing up onto the wing, but he's got the football smarts to push forward at dangerous times. He found himself unaided on the 50-metre line there and then just took the player on, and with his good foot skills, he's kicked his second goal. So good forward movement there.
I reckon he's been a pretty good player for them over the last 6 to 8 weeks. I remember when we were chatting about your list, Jack.
He was on.
He was number 1, in fact, and since then he has been on fire.
Andrew Embley, 2 goals today. The Eagles are in front.
And what I like about not only his goals today is 2 sacrificial acts where he's had to back into a pack and wear one for his teammates. That is great leadership for the younger players.
Let's see if this can lift the Eagles and spark the Saints.
And Jones handball.
Went astray. Goddard under real pressure as a result of it. Jones, then the soccer miss, and then he wraps the sumo suplex hold around the body of the Saints player.
I reckon for St Kilda, now they know that they're going to have to start working. And this next 10 or 15 minutes will be the most difficult, I think, for the West Coast. If they can just continue their role and stop St Kilda from getting 3 or 4 goals, because you'd expect them to spark now, then they're going to be a genuine chance in the last.
Here's Cozzy. Punched away by Mackenzie. Glass needs to be clean. It's well done. Lynch. The runner, Warpunda.
He's got to keep coming up.
He whips the crowd into a frenzy with his electrifying run through the middle of the ground. He's looking for the give and go. He got blocked on the give and go. Free kick Eagles. I think it's Mitch Brown, is it? Stengline will get the free on the edge of the square, but it stopped the dazzling run of the Eagles.
It was unlike Sam Fisher. He had him in his sights. He got him there early, just didn't turn the body, and he gave away a free kick. Starting to get a bit more penetrating run off defence, which is what I think has made the difference in the match. There it is, pushing the back. I mean, it was he needed to do a better tackle than that.
Well, in the meantime, every St Kilda player has got forward of the ball because they were very lazy in relaying the ball back quickly, the Eagles. Short ball, lands in the waiting arms of Cocky. Cocky with a low bullet to McGinnity. He can go Butler, but that's a bit short. He's got Nikoski wide, or he's got Lynch. Now Lynch will take the mark. He needs to spot up a player rather than just belt it long.
They're wanting to belt it long, but they've got Gardner down there by himself.
They're willing him to belt it long, and he does. So this will now go to a contest, Jared.
Straight to Gardner.
And Gardner goes over the top and takes a ripper. You cannot do that, Quinton. You had options on short. He has got to get that other string to his bow, Jared, and be able to go short with the ball.
Yeah, I agree, and I think he's got to be given the options. That's just a bailout that works for no one, and here's a goal coming up, and it
As
may
a
be
result,
turning into the match.
Mill took his eye off the ball, but don't worry about that. He'll tidy this one up and kick the goal. Milne gets it for the Saints.
Well, it's just a classic error. You see everybody in the stand watching on the telly, kick the ball long. Well, players kick the ball short, and coaches have been instructing them to kick it short for a reason, because there are extra men in defence, and kicking it straight to a loose ruckman and then getting the turnover creates more problems than it ever solves.
The recovery of Milne there, excellent, after dropping a relatively simple mark. Probably never seen a more clear example, Jared, of not kicking the ball long for a reason. And people often say that, you know, why don't they kick it long? Why don't they kick it long? Well, that was the perfect example, because you're kicking to a contest. Modern footy these days is played by kicking it to and keeping possession of the ball. There is Graham out of the middle. Nevertheless, they're still in touch here. It's just a 5-point lead for the Saints. Rocky and ball.
And a good response from Quentin Lynch. He got up and he got the ball from that clearance at the centre bounce.
Montagna saw he's going to come from the ground. You can just see in the foreground there. Tap by Lynch was good to Cocky.
Fine, let him go now.
He was immediately tackled by an aggressive ball. British coming for a spell, and I'm guessing where he might have got one there, Montagna. Lynch. This is Brown.
Gone. Good hands.
Brother for the Pies was dropped for the big game against the Bulldogs.
So we're spot on this kick.
That's a great kick, isn't it, to Embley? Now they've got some space out on that side of the ground, the Eagles. Embley goes with the ball. Now Kennedy's got the break on his man. He needs to either mark it or get a good set. He dropped the mark, did well, and the recovery is excellent. Well done, Kennedy. Got the ball moving. Opportunity here. Can't crash the Gilbert tackle. Rosa.
Well, we spoke about that kick from Hearn, had to be spot on. Great work here by Kennedy, but two weapons they've got is obviously in kicking power is Hearn and the big Q. If they can get them forward to the centre a little bit, then they can overpass that long kick that ended up in Gardner's hands.
Take the boys, Keg.
Embley, and infringement there, and that'll be a free kick to McAvoy. Push in the contest there. So we've got a tight one here. There's a replay clearly showing Embley was...
Stay clear of it.
No evidence to date, BT, of the Saints blowing this apart.
No, nothing, Jared, indicates that they're going to do that. We keep expecting it and wondering whether a 15-minute segment of this match might see the Saints lead it by 5 or 6 goals, but at the moment, the Eagles have done well to match them. There's the runner, Fisher, who hasn't been able to get loose today.
Look at the work Rewalt's doing here.
Montagna from Dempster. And
ran
you
a
talk
long
about
way for
that, Glenn Jakovic is spot on.
Fantastic to watch. He was on that outer wing and just kept running. He needs to go. Well, he's going to find someone inside here.
Centering ball, and he finds him. This is McQualter.
That's why he's a captain, one of the best players in the competition, because of his work rate. That was just superior for all our viewers. They wouldn't have seen the ground that he covered, but he certainly worked to space. And have a look at him. He's gasping it back in.
McQualter has one goal. Now this one is directly in front. Really benign conditions being presented here at Subi today. Barely a flutter of a flag. McQualter comes in with the protection of that triple tier stand. Nails the goal for the Saints, and they've kicked consecutive goals here.
It's one of the criticisms about the Eagles, though, Jacko, and that is double-sided work running. I mean, the ability for McQualter to get forward and have no direct pressure on him just says not enough blokes have run into the fence. I mean, you've got to get back. I mean, everybody knows where the Saints are going to go. They're going to go to the middle. Now, Shannon Hearn was covering the front. Somebody had to be pushing back to just block. I mean, fighting's been in for about 15 years.
Works both ways.
Eagles by 12 points, consecutive goals from the boots of Milner. McQualter. McQualter's got a couple. Back in the middle. Can the Eagles respond and stay in touch, or is this the start of a St Kilda run? The clearance out of the middle is really good by Selwood. Tunneled under the ball there. That should be a definite free kick to Lacroix. Nothing forthcoming. That's dangerous play. In basketball terms, Jared, that's a technical foul, something that is not liked at all. It's a very dangerous ploy.
Yeah, you can get suspended for that in basketball. I mean, I don't think that was a suspendable action, but clearly a free kick.
Very, very dangerous because the player's legs are taken from out under him. Anything's possible in terms of landing on your neck, landing awkwardly. And that was a nasty one. There's an opportunity now for Butler to Cox. He's got a bit of time over the top, thought it through. Kennedy to Hanson. Kick around the corner was delivered to Embley. He can mark to a plate on. He'll go back.
He has to kick it now.
He'll go back and line it up.
It was good play. He could have worked himself in a bit of trouble there, Andrew Embley, because he saw Cocky to the top of the screen there, but he just couldn't get it out to him. It's too close to the direct opponent, but here's a chance here. Well done, Ashley Hanson, making the right decision. Good lateral vision, saw Embley on his own to the left of him, screwed the kick over his shoulder, and chance for West Coast to get one back.
For his third goal of the day, Andrew Embley. He's directly in front. There's a good look at it. Kick on the way. They really need this, the Eagles. He's bent it a little right to left. He likes it. Races the fist, and they're back in business.
Excellent response by the West Coast Eagles. We had a lot to say about the tunnelling. Let's have another look at it. You see Raf Clark coming up. More a push in the back than the true tunnel, but the result was tunnelised. And there just a nice chain of handballs. It was this smart kick, Jacko, that you said from Ash Hanson. I thought the smartest decision was for Embley to stop. Could have gone on. I think he would have blown it if he did. Backed himself, and he's having a good game.
Well, a good goal from Embley. His third goal. And the Eagles, all of a sudden, back within a goal. Let's have a look at this one here in Rafal Clark, the one we call tunnelling. He realised he wasn't going to get to the ball, and then he just leapt on him. So it wasn't a severe tunnel, Jared. It was more a push in the back and eased him under the ball. But the same result in terms of the dangerous play.
And the same result in terms of it should have been a free kick.
There go the Eagles. They want to hit the front again. Maston goes to Hanson.
No doubt he's added something to the Eagles. Ash Hanson, he's had a long time off to think about where he's going in his footy career. I think he's making a statement here, Jacko, that he wants to play.
Yeah, he certainly is, but good body work there by young Adam Cocky. He was sensational in that contested situation. Released the ball out, chain of handballs, and they're a lot cleaner in this quarter than they were in the first half, West Coast.
His 8th possession, his 6th mark of the game. Hanson comes in for goal, and he's got it. The Eagles are now back in front.
Well, Jared, it's a good response because you could see St Kilda were threatening. You saw the good leadership work by Nick Rewalt, ended up resulting in a goal, and they got out to 11-point margin. But West Coast, to their credit, there goes the release. Cocky underneath it. Good chain of handballs, back-to-back goals. They're on here.
Well, it's good quick movement out of the centre, and that's when the Saints can't get their blokes back. I like a little statement from the big fellow too. Just watching Cox, he went straight through McAvoy. Let him know.
Hanson's got a couple of goals now, and the Eagles looking purposeful now.
Maston 3 inside 50. Sorry, BT, but I mentioned before you had a heap of possessions till half-time, none inside 50. This quarter, 3 inside 50s.
Only 4 goal kickers for the West Coast Eagles, but they are in front by a point. They get the clearance again, this time Fisher at centre half back. Those goals split up with 3 to Wembley, 2 to Kennedy, 2 to Hanson, and 1 to Clark. Jones, a nervous little kick that was not more than 6.5 metres that the umpire has paid. Fair dinkum. There's Graham. Eagles swarming numbers in front of the deliverer of the ball here and forcing the St Kilda players to change direction. There's Dawson, he can go over the top. They've got a player on long. I think it's Blake. It is.
Yeah, brilliant play by Montagna, though, who created the space. So unselfish running.
Got Art to ball, 50 out. Rewalt's being held by Spanger. He'll be furious on that one. No free there. Over the line, out of bounds.
He said good work by Montagna. I think also what he did, as we see, there's an argument there for a free kick, but he confused the West Coast defenders out there, and they were sucked into Montagna, which the release was over the back. So it was a good sacrificial lead there by Montagna.
4 goal to 2. Quarter here from the West Coast Eagles to really give themselves a good opportunity. We're about to enter red time in this, the 3rd quarter. So if they were not to concede goals from this point in time on, things would work out very nicely for them.
Play on.
There's Hayes at a quietish day, given his best on-ground performance last week. Aaron Ray. Here is Hayes, and his use of the ball last week was a real feature of his game, and couldn't get that one to work. Curtis Lynch, can he find someone with the ball? Let's see if he just kicks it long. Goes for a long to advantage into a contest. It's exactly what we're talking about. It's got to go to someone. Knocked out of the way, McGinnity. Dempster, Fisher, and as a result of that long kick forward, we now see the Saints in possession again. Montagna to Rewalt. Spanger did well defensively. There's ball, sees Jones over the top, but Werpunder's awake to that. And nonchalantly gets the mark as there's a collision off the ball. Rewalt a little groggy. Slow to get back to his feet. There you see just in the picture.
He's going to hit this target.
Spanger needs to get it over the top. The spinning pirouette was good. McGinnity, the hands in time. Maston got the kick away. Here's Cox.
Cox
plays on with a handball. Leclerc with one on the ground, and he gets it. The Eagles by 7 points.
Well, he's really imposed himself, the big fellow, and he needs to come into the ruck because Quentin Lynch is absolutely stuffed. He is out on his feet. Now he comes from the ground. Kennedy will go forward, and Cox, who's had an impact, he bowled over McAvoy early. Now on the back of this one, he has set up a goal. Nice work from Cox coming out, imposing himself. And they're starting to believe, and that's the Saints' problem.
Maston is starting to get forward a little bit more as we see this. Try to get him down. Frustrated.
Well, game on here. Biggest margin of the game in favour of the West Coast Eagles. Have a look at this from Nick Rewalt. Anything in this, you think, boys?
Nothing.
No, just a good collision, wasn't it? Rewalt a little slow to recover from that, but okay now. Well, the Saints now have got it in front of them. Gardner tries to raise the spirits out of the middle, and this is the biggest margin of the game from the West Coast Eagles' point of view, a 7-point margin.
What do you think, Colby? What do you do if you're St Kilda coach, and what do you do if you're the St Kilda captain?
Well, I think they've done one thing straight away, and that's brought Cozzy off and gone small forward, left Rewalt the only tall for the Saints. And the captain, well, he's, as you said, pretty sore and sorry for himself, but he'll be okay.
Goddard's gone forward as well by the looks.
There's Dempster and Montagna around the corner. The dangerous Milne breaks loose. Now, this is where he loves to kick goals from. Milne.
Well, the tall options are not working for him, not because of their out of form. They've been certainly fantastic players.
Look at this. No one to stop the run around there. And McCloskey screaming at Werpunder to get onto his left foot because he does like to run around. Banana, drop punt, anything at all possible from Milne. He just goes the standard drop punt, which is absolutely inch perfect.
Well, it's a good call by Lee Colbert going small down there with Cozzy coming off the ground. They can get a few more numbers down there, just stretch West Coast with a bit of pace and get that ball. Montaigne was quick with his decision making, kicked it to the fat side there in the advantage of Milne, with space to lead into.
Pretty good conversion, BT, from Stephen Milne. It's a tough spot.
He's excellent, Jared. He can kick it in many, many different ways. The drop punt, just one of those. He's beautiful. The Saints immediately bite back, and they're down by just a point. Stevie Milne has kicked a couple today, and he is a great creator when in that set top position, whether it's the run around left foot, the right foot banana, or the right foot drop punt. He's capable of all of them. Goddard out of the middle with a clearing ball, down in the Milne direction. He gets it off the ground level. Dangerous in this position. Needs a good roll around the corner. Too much bench. The bounce gave him a chance, though. It had a lot of off-spin about it. And a dangerous player down forward is Steve Milne.
Well, it's a good clearance as well. Goddard bursting out of the centre and hitting up one of his teammates.
Well, here we are with just under 6 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Scores a level. Hearn, he can concede there if he wants. He's under pressure. Players don't know the rule yet, Jared, but he could have conceded in that situation if he'd wanted to without giving away a free under the new rule.
Should have just flicked it round the corner for a point or walked it over.
Yep. No problems about that whatsoever.
No, and that's been confirmed by Jeff Geeshan.
Yep. And the players are still not necessarily confused. They're nervous to take the risk because they're not sure what the umpires will call. Selwood, Embley, carefully picking up the ball, did well, Rafael Clark. Priddis, Embley in the end was really good, but straight to Goddard. Here's Jones, Rewalt under the ball, Glass did well. Will it carry? The dangerous Milne pushed out of the way. Nikoski clever along the boundary line. Lynch and Kennedy over the top. Strong! Josh Kennedy.
Well, he had to mark it. It was one of those 50-50 kicks. He flew 4 deep, and that's the value. He's a growing stature and his marking confidence.
Kick to leave it. Hasn't got great pace. Brown in the middle, smothered by Fisher. But I tell you what, you give a team, a bottom team, a chance from here, and they will take every advantage. Have a look at this. Josh Kennedy over the top in the contested mark. A true contested mark from him. Kazitsky off the bench and now into the ruck.
This bloke's had his own footy this quarter.
Opened up. Priddis. Into the middle to Lynch. See what he does this time.
Ray Chamberlain is right onto this battle here between Dawson and Hansen. Hansen is screaming for a free kick.
McQualter. Opportunity, Hansen fights hard. McQualter eventually extracting the ball. Montaigne fast hands, Gilbert, Goddard. Not much on there, all one-on-one down the ground. Del Santo. Sun in the eyes, the afternoon sun setting in the west here. Del Santo goes wide and just under the 4 remaining. You can see Kazitsky shooting his eyes. Long ball, here comes Milne in the pocket, he'll mark it. And I can tell you he's just as damaging from this spot. He'll run around on the right. The umpire blowing the whistle and saying, I'm going to set their angle now. I called time off. Now Milne, very clever from this situation. Maston's coming to guard the run around play, and I think he might still run away. He does. He opens the angle, right foot kick around the corner. This time it's crossed the face. In fact, he's kicked it out of bounds on the full. Highly unusual for Steve Milne.
Colby, I remember Goddard played at full forward for the Saints earlier in the season and kicked, I think it was 4 goals in the first quarter. Might have missed one easy one. I just think on this ground you've got to get your mix different up in that forward line, and Goddard as a forward could be a key that they could test out on this ground, and maybe even with a view to September.
Most definitely, Jared. He's that linchpin or swing player who can do that. I'd like to see him start all out of the goal square, and especially with that speed down there, to give himself some space and time to move.
Here comes Gardner. He's in good marking form. Couldn't get a run out at that time. Glass to work, put up. cancelled by Dempster. Rewalt with some soccer skills. Keeps it alive at their end of the ground. And the good thing about Goddard in that full forward position, Jared, given a bit of room and space as he presents naturally to the ball, doesn't he?
He does. He's a difficult player to match up on too, BT, and I know they need him on this big ground as part of the midfield rotation, but might be just worth having a look at in the back.
That is nearly in the back. The umpire was perhaps caught in a bad position there.
He landed his back. No, he did not. Well done, team. He never actually jumped into his back.
Okay, fair enough, umpire. That's the authoritative voice of umpire Dean Margetts. Said he had a good view of it. Called it as he saw it. What do you think, Jared?
I saw it a bit differently.
Well, Maston's got a free here. Now Hanson presents again as he's done all day. His man Dawson didn't go with him, then he let him go.
Now he's got to wait though and to maintain possession because there's nothing forward bar the big fellow Dean Cox.
Now Quentin, don't just kick it to a contest. Please use the ball.
That message may have been passed down to him.
There is Hearn. I mean, we as commentators love to see it go to a contest, Jared, but I think as a coach they prefer it not.
It's a smart kick, dangerous kick, but smart kick.
Nikoski long to Cox. This is the sort of contest you want. Gilbert did well against the tall Cox. Dean Cox back in the side today.
What do you think, Colby? You've been looking into the eyes of the Saints players. Have they got what it takes to run over the top?
I think they have. The class is the thing that I think is probably going to stand out in the end, but you can't take anything away from the Eagles at this stage. Goddard's going to the middle of the ground, Jared, so you haven't had your way yet, but I think it's coming.
We know they've got the class, but have they got the work rate today?
Very, very good point. But look, the Eagles are out on their feet as well, so it's been a tough game up until now.
Now Spanger's gone back onto Gardner. Gardner playing as a deep forward and taking a rest is Glass at the moment. I remember this happening against Anthony Rocker in the final ones, and Rocker kicked about 2 goals in 2 minutes towards the end of the third quarter in the final to consolidate a Collingwood victory.
Well, it's a good move, I think, also to get Kazitsky into the ruck, give him an opportunity to get involved.
Gardner now taking Spanger deep, and he may well get an opportunity here if Ball can trap this one. Milne, the tackle on Nikoski was good, and so was Luke Balls.
Revolt's come to the bench also for a rest just before 3/4 time. They've sent Blake and Big Gardner forward.
The voice of Lee Colbert down there at ground level, and I'm joined up in the commentary box by Jared Healy and Glenn Jakovich. As Rosa doing some ruck work. Brown over the top. Opportunity for the Eagles. McGinnity, Jones and Graham. Graham goes wide to the lead of Blake. Leads Stengwine to the ball. A little tap out in front. I'm not sure why he didn't take possession, whether he thought Stengwine was right on his tail.
It was a deliberate, non-deliberate. He had very well disguised.
3 or 4 metres on his man. I'm not sure why he didn't take possession, but he doesn't take any risks, Jason Blake.
Yeah, he's got that back pocket mentality.
There's Graham. Gardner presented up. Would have liked to have seen him stay long. And in the end, the kick was without great thought. Hearn to Rosa. We've got a minute remaining in the third quarter. Scores are level. Goals important, obviously. Eagles have possession. Cocky trying to create something. Back to Lynch. Maston.
Switch going here to Kennedy.
Hearn. They've got McKenzie on this far side.
He's got to start running with it.
Spanger presents short. He can go there if he wants. Handball over the top. Needs a Shepherd. Mitch Brown should have applied the Shepherd. Instead wanted the ball.
You're right, BT. He had to come in and aid a pathway for Maston, and Maston would have been on his way. Just got confused here.
Have a look at this. Mitch Brown
coming through.
should have stopped Graham applying the tackle. Graham, you're quite right. Now we're down to an important 30 seconds. The Saints can score from here. They're within about 70 metres of their goal. All locked up. There'll still be time.
Good tackle. No prior.
Runners out there. You can see him working just in the camera there. He's telling all of the players, the Eagles runner, that there's only 30 seconds or less remaining in this quarter, and they need to be very conservative in their options.
No prior, mine.
Goddard's just playing as a loose player in defence at the moment.
No sign of the St Kilda runner out there.
Because he's just gone forward for this last passage of play to see if he can pluck a mark. If they can get a quick kick in there.
Lynch got it out of the ruck and did well to work it forward with Rafael Clark, and that'll just about spell the end of scoring in this quarter, with the Saints now going into run-down defensive mode. They're going to have to muster all the energy they can possibly find here, St Kilda, to get home and keep that winning streak going. West Coast Eagles fans stand and applaud their team to tie it up here at three-quarter.
Throw him up forward just for that bit of magic and try and stretch Geelong. They're very tall still, West Coast up forward, looking forward for a cracker last quarter.
You don't think they needed to get through the forward pressure of the Saints?
Give someone else the responsibility.
Well, all 4 wins for the West Coast this year have come at this ground.
Can you see a fairy tale, Brian?
No, I can't, Jared. I'm still going to stick with the Saints just at this stage, given the fact they've won 14 in a row. It's pretty good form. But the Eagles on their home track are also good. Maston won't help running over the top of that one. Now Goddard launches into attack. Here comes an opportunity for Big Cos. He hasn't been able to get his claws on the ball today. Milne working at ground level, and they'll lock it inside that 50, the Saints.
I've got that. It's on the ground.
So we're looking forward to a really good contest in this last quarter. The sun's setting in the west and the lights ablaze here. The last remnants of the sun just at the top of the picture there, as you can see in the pocket. Cosy with the palm out, opportunity for Eddie. Got the kick away and they score. The Saints get the first and the last.
Well, it's good work by Kosicki playing forward on this occasion, but playing in front. He was able to just be a contest here and flick the ball out. Just got his hands to it, and in the end, he just kept his feet, kept the ball alive, and a good result there for Robert Eddy. Good goal. Not the start the Eagles wanted, but one that St Kilda put pressure first up early.
Robert Eddy with just his second goal of the year and his third game of footy. And the Saints by a goal in the first minute of the last quarter. Good start for them. Gardner did really well. How good was that to Del Sano? And now Rewalt and Glass. Class defender against class forward. Here's Spanger. Around the back was McKenzie. Now Hearn.
Hit this target.
Oh, Lynch slipped over. Opportunity for Del Sano. Lynch just gets back on his feet. They've made the pay. 2 in a minute for the Saints.
Well, I think the message by the St Kilda hierarchy and the coaching staff would maximum pressure for the first 5 or 10 minutes, and they feel they can break West Coast, force them back, force them into some decision making that they're not used to. And under pressure here, Shannon Hearn looked inside, had to hit that target. It didn't. He was a bit nervous about that kick, slipped over. 2 goals in a minute, and St Kilda sense they're up here.
Nick Del Sano with his third goal. The Saints by 12 points. A turnover error from the Eagles. Great start from them. 2 goals in 2 minutes. And now the Eagles have got a fight. Montagna with the clearance.
3 centre clearances have hurt the Eagles.
Glass, Selwood, Jones wrapped up on the tackle, still got the ball away. McQualter. Here's a third in 3 minutes. Montagna around the corner, missed. Electric final quarter start from the Saints.
While they're applying maximum pressure, they're up. I mean, some of their clearances and their ruck work by Michael Gardner, but they're on their toes and they're putting as much pressure they can on West Coast and try and hurt this game, because they feel that the longer this game goes, that West Coast will fancy themselves for an upset victory.
Hearn long and wide, but it comes over the back. It's going to come back again. Here they go, the Saints. Rewalt and Glass almost got it. Got some numbers, the Eagles. Can they get the ball? Eddie. Snapshot at goal. Glass was punched to the boundary, and we'll have a throw in deep in attack for the Saints.
Block your holes off the back.
You feel if the Saints get the next one, it may well be a difficult task for the Eagles to come back from there.
Thank you. No holes or blocks.
Can't afford to concede here, the West Coast. Montagna and Ray collide from the boundary line. Farron Ray centering ball. And that's the advantage of centering the ball. Eddie takes the mark. He'll line up for his second goal of the quarter.
Well, they just haven't touched the footy in this term, BT. I'll get you the official stats in just a sec, but they haven't got anywhere near the leather from the start of this quarter.
Just one of the common team rules you'll find even junior clubs to centre the ball, and hopefully someone will be on the end of it. Eddie to make it 3 goals inside 5 minutes in this last quarter. Eddie comes in and kicks the goal. The Saints by 18 points.
Gee, I'm amazed by St Kilda. I know they've flatly spoken about just their mindset and decision making, but I mean, this is player, I guess, responsibility, taking action into their own hands in his first 5 or 10 minutes. They haven't allowed, you're saying that West Coast haven't got many possessions. Well, they just haven't been good enough to get any possessions because St Kilda have initiated the clearances, the contests, contested possession, and they're all over West Coast in a minute.
This is a young man coming to the premiership favourite side, Jared, in Eddie.
Yep.
And he's wanting a piece of the action as far as getting a game each week as Cox taking a spell on the bench. What did you find out about the stats in terms of possession so far, Jared?
I'm finding out that I've got to do more work on my computer skills, Brian.
All right, then.
But at this stage, I can tell you that they have had just 6 disposals to 17.
Yep.
And most of those disposals for the Eagles have been on the last line.
Let's get on with it.
Ball up here. Opportunity for Maston in tight. Pritis Rosa looking for running support. Slippery in that end all of a sudden. No rain inside here.
What they're doing, they're forcing him back, and the pressure, I mean, they're just corralling him back into deep into their forward 50, knowing that 2, 3, 4 possessions, they'll turn it up or slip over, and that's because of their pressure.
Well, you touched on clearances, boys, and Cox, as you said, is on the bench and injured, boys. He's not that well. He's limping around on the bench. So,
what do you think's wrong with him, Colby?
I think it's his foot, BT. It seems to be hampering him a little bit. So I'll be just keeping an eye on him to see if he can come back.
Well, that is interesting because you would think he'd be out there right now. Give the Eagles some chance. Kaczynski, beautiful tap back into play, and the kick comes in the Milne direction. He puts up the jukes and takes the mark.
What about the couple of kicks that have gone to the top of the square for the Saints? A little bit more urgency in their forward movement. Well, I've got the ball in a lot deeper.
Del Santo was the one. He lost Spanger because of Kaczynski. He's not going to get credited with any goals in this quarter unless he kicks a couple, but he's worked with his hands. We'll see later. It was just fantastic.
Milne with a straight drop punt, or is he going to go the right foot banana? I think he's going to run around, and he's trying to make this and invent something a little more difficult than he needs to here. Just run in and kick the drop punt, Steve.
We're here.
So in he comes, Milne. Kicks the standard drop punt. He's really good at that as well. I don't know why he hesitates, but he has a crack at glass. 4 and 6 minutes.
Been a significant player since half-time, Stephen Milne up forward. Very good last quarter. And, well, he's finally snagged one, which is significant. And Graves is pretty happy to find someone he can look eye to eye with.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. If I get into the mark and you haven't played on and you're off your line, I have to blow time on and line you up. No, I'm looking at down glass.
There's the explanation from Ray Chappell.
Well, the premiership favourite St Kilda have kicked 4 goals in 7 minutes. They lead it by 25. Scores were level 7 minutes ago, Jared.
And the game was up for grabs right now, though, unless the Eagles can do something about getting their hands on the ball. She'll be done and dusted within 5 minutes.
There's Embley.
The dangerous players just haven't got it in this term.
Rosa under enormous pressure. Lynch. In that case, it's about all he can do. That's a good result. But offhands 2-on-1, Saints win. Montagna, kick in front of Rewald. Here comes Spanger, well done. Once again, outnumbering at the forward pack from the Saints.
Gardner.
McQualter over the top to that man, Glenn.
Well, he's running quick an inch around. He's not a conventional ruckman, and that's the luxury that they've got at the minute, the advantage of exposing no Dean Cox out there.
There is Montagna going with a low bullet to Kazitsky, and he'll line up from directly in front.
Jacko, Neil Craig could either be in the grandstand here somewhere or be watching on Fox Sports. What do you think he's noting down to tell his players?
Well, just where St Kilda are at, obviously don't underestimate them, but maximise the pressure that the Eagles did for 3 quarters. But give themselves, because they'll have better class than what the Eagles are. You'd think they're, players, midfielders, to be able to hurt them the other way. As Maston comes off, we'll go down to Colby in a minute.
Kazitsky comes in directly in front to make it 5 goals inside the last 10. He's missed to the left and a minor score.
Colby Maston came off pretty gingerly then, didn't he?
Just limped off, cramping in the calf, left calf. He'll be okay. It's been a pretty tired old day, but Dean Cox looks pretty sore and sorry for himself. Definitely a groin injury came into the game with, but
we won't see him, Colby, again today, then, would we?
You wouldn't have thought, mate. I won't put him away just yet, but he hasn't been on for the first 10 minutes, so you wouldn't have think he'd be coming back.
All right. Well, you'd think all hope for the Eagles disappearing by the minute. 26 down.
No, actually, Jason, you're keeping the marks down here. You're closest.
And this is Del Santo with flowing blood, and you hear the umpires calling blood rule there, so there'll be a slight delay in the game here. Del Santo pretty close to the bench as he comes from the ground. We've got an accidental knock in the head then from the opposition player, so he gets escorted off the ground. He'll have a staple in the head, and he'll be back out there in no time. You're the one for staples, Glenn, or you prefer to get the stitch?
Well, I don't think you've got time, so you want to get back out there as quickly as they can fix it.
I think you would have gone the stitch because you're always concerned about your looks. I don't think the staple would have suited you, Glenn.
Especially for the modelling career. Still hasn't come out.
Emily's got a free here. Stevie Milne becoming rather frustrated with Ray Chamberlain. And Ray explaining to Steve some of the rules. Steve not wanting to know about the explanation.
A little bit of deafness when it comes to the explanation.
Yes, he has. Convenient deafness. Trying to barge his way through was Lenny Hayes. And Gardner's gone back to the bench time and time again for this particular rub. As you can see there.
Still looking, or whatever the rub's doing, BT, it's working. But the Eagles are still looking to go inside 50 for this term. Haven't crossed the centre with any vengeance so far.
Prittis. Look at them getting pushed backwards. This is typical of St Kilda's good pressure skills, Gerard, that we see week in and week out. Making them go backwards.
Gone.
And in the end, the trap is set. They get out of it though. Selwood. Mackenzie's kick, not great. Blake going back to the flight.
But as you said, BT, it broke down with the pressure of on the disposal. And it was a soda for Jason Blake just to stick the arms up and grab it.
There's Eddie. Kick wasn't good, was it?
No.
And the Eagles will be happy through Butler for the boundary.
Working hard, Lou Montagna. He's run hard all day. He's had some issues with opponents running with him, but he has been one of the game breakers in this last quarter.
Yep, 6 disposals in this last quarter, Gerard. The leading disposal getter on the ground is Lee Montagna. In the corner from Embley. Mitch Brown. And ball once again missing the target. There's Ray. Transfer of play is clean to Blake, who can go. Oh. Had it spent before he earned it. Ran through traffic. The backup run support is good. Foul Clark immediately indicating to Baker to go backwards and give themselves a bit of think time, and eventually they do that. Well done, Rafael Clark, to organise his defenders there and not only get hold of the ball but tell those with it what to do with it.
Here he is, Sam Fisher, just starting to get himself, sneak forward, disposal not flash.
Off hands, ball, did well. Eddie to Graham, long kick of the ball, went wide on this occasion, looking for Goddard. Selwood did really well to keep him honest and bring the ball to the ground, and I think he may be penalised here. If you suck it in, you must spit it out.
Nothing more infuriating for a player, that decision.
Over the top of Eddie goes Sten Gline. Last working at the ground level. Found the handball over the top, and run down was McGinnity. Kept alive by Del Santo. Once again, the unselfish centering ball. This time Kennedy getting back to make it 2-on-1.
Well, you can sense how much pressure St Kilda and dominance they've had in the start of this last quarter. If Kennedy's going down there to play a support role or get a possession.
He may even be in the ruck right now, Jacko. But one thing is certain.
Gee, how that wasn't a mark. There's been shorter kicks than that paid today because Milne comes in and kicks the goal. He gets goal number 4. That should have been paid a mark.
One of the positives for the season, I think, is the form of Josh Kennedy since he's come back into the side, Jacko. For the Saints, we know it's all ahead of them. But the Eagles, well, they'll continue to try and develop through the year. Then they've got a pre-season, and I think they'll be expecting and hoping that Josh Kennedy can emerge next year as not a developing player, but a significant senior player in this outfit.
No, you're definitely right there. He's a player that they've put a lot of faith in, and if he can just finish out the season with game match fitness.
Steve Milne, 4 goals today, 12 kicks, 3 handballs, 4 marks. Been good. Dangerous, got the last 2 of this game to tie it up. Official crowd today of 36,259. Very good crowd to come and watch their team. Graham off to Gilbert, now Del Santo.
He had 10 blokes in the middle, but Nick Del Santo elected to try and get it to the other side of the ground.
Baker's ball out wide to Fisher. And the Eagles are guarding the corridor here. Push the Saints wide.
Right there, Mitch.
9 inside 50s to none in this term.
Gee. 9 inside 50s to none.
11 tackles to 2.
And that's in a 17-minute period of football.
Yep.
5 goals, 2 to no score.
Gee. It's been overwhelming in this last quarter. Certainly silenced the crowd.
Hey, right out, Mitch. Mitch, keep coming out.
Have the premiership favourites.
Keep it on. Play on.
I would think with their break on the ladder now, Gerard, that
They can't
miss
top spot.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to next week. I think it's going to tell us a lot about Adelaide, Brian. When the Saints take on Adelaide, I think St Kilda will be entitled to have a bit of a flat 2 or 3 weeks, and they've certainly had one today.
Yep.
If they take the similar flatness to Adelaide next week, they may just be in for a bit of a rude awakening.
It's the twilight game at the Telstra Dome, at the Etihad Stadium, I'm sorry, in Melbourne next week. St Kilda and Adelaide, we look forward to that. And the next month ahead for St Kilda, as we mentioned, Adelaide at Etihad, Western Bulldogs as well there for St Kilda, and then of course Sydney and at the SCG, and Hawthorn down there at Aurora and Launceston. So 2 of the next 4 are on the road. And when you consider that this one is also on the road, it's tough ask.
Any taxi?
Do you consider resting on that basis, Gerard?
Well, it doesn't matter what we think. They're not resting anybody. I think it's something they would have discussed with players, but talking to management here from St Kilda, it's just 100 miles an hour till the end of the year. Drop or not drop.
Players are too scared to go out of the side in case they don't get back injured, and that's fair enough.
You wouldn't want to be missing. I mean, blokes have been missing premierships at St Kilda since 1966. Why would you even...
Ask Clint Jones whether he wants to go out and give someone else a chance.
He's happy to keep running.
Yep. There is Milne for goal number 5 to make it 6 in a row for the Saints in the last quarter. Missed. Yeah, it's a situation where so many of these young players have worked so hard to improve the games. Gilbert and, you know, Blake and these guys, they don't want to go out of the side, Gerard, and give anyone else a chance of taking their position.
Well, I think the Sean Dempster story is a classic point in case. He's worked all...
So does then it boil down to the coaching staff saying, no, you are going to miss?
Well, I don't think they
feel the players tired.
They're not letting blokes off the Tigers. They may let them off if they've got an injury.
There's Hansen into the open goal, gets it. The first goal of the last quarter coming at the 19-minute mark for the Eagles.
Yeah, a little niggly injury they might get themselves a week or so off, BT, but geez, when it didn't look like any quarter would be given whatsoever. But Jacko,
Yeah, it was good play by West Coast in the centre of the ground. It was just a good contest. All numbers up. David Wirapunda got the ball down to the ground, a small play, but held his feet after the contest. Ball spilled out, and good decision making there because the Saints were pressing, and you can force yourself into error, but kept it straight. Good goal. Very important for West Coast. They've been very good in this game. We've seen some insight into their future with some of their players. Maston has been very good. Kennedy we've spoken about. Lacroix now going to the centre. He's always going to be amongst the goals. He wasn't today, but they've got to finish this game right out.
And Hanson's return has been good as well. 3 goals today.
Gardner's return to Subiaco has been pretty reasonable as well. That tap was magnificent.
Was. There's Lynch. Nicely weighted kick out wide for McGinnity. Keeps it alive. Here is Hanson and Dawson going at it. Did well, Dawson. To Fisher. Well thought through by Fisher. Gilbert was good to Gardner. And Gardner, you get the feeling, really enjoying this here today. He enjoyed last week because he was the man of the moment. But this used to be his dunghill. High ball. Lynch fell heavily over the back. Del Santo. Stenglein really committed himself to win the hard ball.
I think Luke Ball just tried to squeeze almost the impossible handball through that time. Needed every little bit of dexterity that Nick Del Santo had from his basketball days to control that one.
See, the Gardner athleticism is back. You see him jumping over the player there and jumping for marks. I haven't seen this from Gardner for years, Glenn. You know him better than anybody.
Yeah, well, with Michael, he had the posterior cruciate ligament. He had problems with his lower legs, his feet, and as a key forward or a tall player, as you appreciate, Brian, is you need your confidence in your legs to be able to jump, launch yourself at packs, because the bigger guys are always put themselves in those vulnerable positions. He wasn't able to do that. It's taken him a couple of years to get over his feet, and to his credit, he's worked really, really hard. And I mean, we were down there before the game. He's just a super athlete.
Legs that go for it. I mean, he had to be talked into playing this year. He had retired.
Well, he's stuck it in there at the game, and he's been fantastic from that aspect.
He has. McKenzie dropping an easy mark. Through tidying up was Glass, and now Lynch. Nice handball from Lynch over the top to Rosa. Rosa through the middle. Maston's got to do some footwork. The handball is just behind Rosa.
Flat-footed handball.
Just a little, wasn't it? And a result of ball up in the middle, so the Saints are going to get home here. Leading at the moment by 27 points. You can see that handball behind Rosa.
That mate's got a bit of it. Play on.
Now Kennedy. Rounds just snuck off the bench. Knocks it out of the hands of Dawson. Needs some support. Got it through and handball to Cocky. No one between here and the goals. Lines them up and jams them home.
That's good play. Kennedy at this centre bounce down. I mean, he has gone into the ruck with Cox out of the game and Lynch having a bit of a rest. He just got the ball forward.
Not sure what Zach Dawson was up to there, Jacko.
Lost his direct opponent, but good work by Cocky because he's a young player, highly rated by the West Coast Eagles.
Let's have a look at this one.
Went with the hand and not the body, Jared.
Well, he just had to take the ball or smash it over the boundary line.
Cocky with his first goal today, 3rd for the year. A young man with great tackling skills. What else has he got going for him, Jared? Brendan.
Just good in confined spaces, and he lacks a bit of pace, but he's very, very hard at it. He wins possession of the ball. He's good with his hands. Good with his skills.
Hurt his shoulder there.
He got poleaxed. I think it was Luke Ball coming through.
Might be a stinger, Jared, but
It may be well, it would definitely have stung. Just trying to work out who it was that came through. Was it Montagna?
there it is.
No, it was Luke Ball.
Luke Ball came through like a steam train. Well, he's been on the end of a few, and he's given a few back.
Beautiful hip and shoulder.
Yeah,
Look at
a
that.
ripper.
And that's got his shoulder. And
Bit of an AC joint, I reckon.
it is, Jared. He's just coming from the ground now. You see him cradling the arm as he comes from the ground there, holding that left arm, shoulder. He's a player they can't afford to be without because he's their class up forward. That's how easy it can happen. Montagna opens them up. Hayes splits them down the middle. Goes with a long ball, looking for McAvoy. He's getting a bit of a Bronxy then. I don't know why. Here is the doctor checking more the forearm elbow area, so that's probably good news. You're a little bit closer than we are, Colby. Dr. Colbert. What do you
Most
think?
definitely looks elbow. They were just twisting his wrist there for a second or two, so radius or ulnar, I think it's, I believe, Jared.
They'll do. Long way from the AC joint, but they'll take it.
Let's just say it's a joint. Here's Cocky. 60 from home. Eagles have kicked the last two.
He's got nothing.
Someone's going to go and get it off him. Pritis does. Kick around the corner was controlled. Would have found the target initially, but it was cut off. Aston to Cocky. Cocky coming into the play, got the handball away. Eventually they get a kick forward, and you can see why they weren't in a hurry to go forward, because there were so many St Kilda players forward of the ball.
I think the cues in the rag for the Saints. They've just about had enough. They've done enough, and they've had enough.
21-point ball game. Over the back is McQualter and Rewalt. Milne presents, he ignores that lead. McAvoy presents and he ignores that lead. Says, I'm going backwards. Phil Clark kicks it back to Rewalt. Holds the ball aloft.
Haven't seen much of the ball up in the air in recent times, BT, since you started a scourge on it.
Well, we did, Jeremy. We felt that it was a signal to the opposition team to attack more than it was to steady for the team holding the ball aloft. Kazitsky, Fisher, and they are now in.
The cue is completely in the rack.
Preservation mode here as Rewalt has gone behind the ball and happy just to possess the ball here. And good training for them in a way too, as they come up against a game in the last couple of minutes of a game where it's a goal of difference or so. They need to be able to play this game as well. The crowd won't like it. Those English Premier League players downstairs would be wondering what the hell's going on, but they do it in soccer, Jared, where they...
This is where we learn it from, BT.
Yeah, it is where we learn it from. So perhaps they would understand it.
Yep, they actually wanted to know why we weren't doing it earlier.
At half-time. So their games.
Here we go, contest, Graham over the back.
Maxton.
Well, that was a throw.
There's
Yeah, you
the
can
big
kick
kick.
a long big fella.
70 metres out. Long, driving, thumping ball. No one on the end of it. Dawson can concede if he wants. He elects not to. Montagna. So 2.5 minutes remaining. The run continues for the Saints. Can you believe it? 15 straight. The next 2 weeks they'll be tested by really good sides, Adelaide and the Western Bulldogs. The Eagles next week, by the way, play Port Adelaide at Amy.
Poor option.
Blake knocks it through. That is allowed as well. There was a player in the vicinity and he was under some pressure.
He's in two minds out of Selwood. He took the mark, wanted to play on. They were outnumbered, but he obviously knows he can't kick over 50 metres, and he was 60 out when he kicked that, and it was straight to...
I think looking at that diagnosis down there, that the news is looking better for Leclerc. Saints under a bit of pressure here. Del Santo, great user of the ball. So is this man here, Gilbert, got better as well. Milne going over the top of glass, recovered well, but in the end, too many Eagles.
There's better vision.
Nice kick into the middle. Ebert played on, tackled Dempster, got him. It's a throw. I didn't see it, so Montagna to Graham, squeezed the trigger and found Farron Ray running right through the middle of this Subiaco oval. Couple of bounces, Kennedy the chaser, got him in the end. Great chase, wasn't it? From Kennedy late in the game. Montagna short ball, Rewalt. Oh, slow motion.
Good play by St Kilda through the middle of the ground, but hats off to Josh Kennedy. Lee Colbert said he stood with him at the boundary line before the game. He's sitting at 196 centimetres. As a key forward, gone into the ruck. He's had a mixed bag today. Kicked a couple of goals, and to do that right at the end of the game, that's what you want to see in your players. That's a positive.
So Rewalt, lines up 45 metres out. A severe angle under a minute remaining. He's kicked it to the near side. Have a look at this replay affecting McLeod in the elbow. You can just see the point of it there.
Well, BT, you're actually on the money as always, because Lacra's back on the ground and he's okay.
That's great news. Does that disposal count right, that Lee Montagna's had 43 disposals today, Jared?
Well, he's had a poultice of it in the last quarter.
My PC, Jared, is telling me that he has had 43 disposals today, Lee Montagna. He's 6 goal kickers today for the Saints, which is unusual. Normally they have a really good spread across 10 to a dozen players. It's Brown getting pretty dark here as Rosa off the ground.
Can't get a release player out here, West Coast.
That's
beyond
true.
50. And that's the pressure they put themselves under in St Kilda in this last quarter in particular.
Never shut up the siren here, Jacko.
Yeah.
Win number 15, complete full round 15 for the Saints. Baron Ray wants to do a bit of damage to the percentage.
I think the only interest here is I think the margin that we had on TB Sportsbet was about 21 points.
Well, it's 20 at the moment. He comes in and there'll be no score on that one. So the Saints will win it by 20 points over the West Coast Eagles. They continue the running sequence. And the big man Gardner congratulating and commiserating with his former teammates.
Well, fantastic effort by both sides. I mean, it wasn't a high standard game by any stretch of the imagination early. A lot of errors, a lot of skill errors, decision-making errors. But in the end, well done, St Kilda.
Let's go down ground level to Lee Colbert. He has Lee Montagna.
Joey, that looked tough, it looked hard, it looked frustrating at times, but 4 points again.
Yeah, look, it was one of those games, you know, the boys were a bit flat. Obviously, we didn't realise the effect of last week until we got out here today, and we knew that we just had to dig deep and grind away, and I think it's you know, a really gutsy effort for us to come away with the win.
Well, it was a brutal game last weekend, and then to come here and play on such a big ground in the West, it was pretty warm conditions.
Yeah, it was warm and obviously a big ground and the interstate travel, so a lot of boys just had to really hang tough, and you know, we ground out a good win.
No injuries. Yourself, you came off a couple of times. You looked like you had sore